Chapter 272, Chapter 272, Divine Array Diagram, Heaven and Earth Reincarnation. Chapter 272, Divine Array Diagram, Heaven and Earth Reincarnation. The appearance of the white-robed young man caused countless martial artists to look over. The white-robed young man had a faint smile on his face. He looked calm and collected in front of countless martial artists and 5 Supreme Realm experts. His arrival immediately caused all the martial artists to be surprised. That was because the white-robed young man was at the same height as the 3 martial honors. He was also the closest to the 3 martial honors of the Yen family. It was obvious that this young man was the main character of the day. However, what surprised all the martial artists was that this young man had no cultivation at all. No matter how talented he was only a martial ancestor. Could he be the spirit pill master of the Divine Pill Pavilion, Ling Tian? They were right. The young man in white was Ling Tian. He was not afraid of the Yen clan's 3 revered martial artists. Instead, he had a faint murderous intent. Sir Ling Tian. Spirit alchemist of the Divine Pill Pavilion. He's Sir Ling Tian, the one who killed 4 9th-level martial monarchs. He's also the one who challenged 3 martial honors. It's him. Some powerhouses who knew Ling Tian were shocked and impressed. Those who didn't know him were also shocked, and they heard the discussions of others. If this young man was in any other place, he would only be a disciple of an aristocratic family. How could he be associated with an expert? It was even more impossible to associate this young man with today's main character. This young master is here. Are the 3 good-for-nothings waiting for this young master? These words shocked tens of thousands of experts. These words were said to a junior. He was actually so arrogant in the face of tens of thousands of experts. Moreover, everyone could tell that this sentence was directed at the 3 Yen family Supreme Realm experts. Ling Tian, don't talk nonsense. Today is the day you and the Yen family settle things. Yen Qingshan revealed a trace of surprise on his face. This young man was no different from the last time. The last time he saw her, she was covered in injuries and was on the verge of death. Now, her injuries had completely recovered. Although he couldn't tell what was different, it gave off a sense of threat. This threat had already affected him. If they were anywhere else, they would have been scared to death by Ling Tian's words. However, the Yen clan did not dare to be careless since there were experts from the Queen's Palace and the Wind Moon Palace here. Alright, you said it. Divine Array Diagram, Sacrifice. Heaven and Earth Reincarnation. Ling Tian smiled. Without any hesitation, he activated his divine consciousness and a golden light appeared between his brows. With a flash of golden light, the Divine Array Diagram appeared and he cast it in one go. The Divine Array Diagram floated in the air. Suddenly, a strange aura appeared between heaven and earth, and the entire reincarnation peak trembled. Rumble. The lakes and mountains were collapsing. Countless experts flew into the distance. She was shocked. She did not expect Ling Tian to turn the world upside down before he even made a move. Yen Qingshan was also extremely shocked. There was nothing wrong with them coming here first, but now, such a strange change had actually occurred. From the sky, a mysterious aura of reincarnation rushed down and enveloped the 3 of them. Not good. It's the reincarnation of heaven and earth. It's an ancient formation. Not good. Yen Qingming shouted. The 3 of them were shocked and quickly fled into the distance. As soon as Ling Tian shouted, Yen Qingming was knowledgeable enough to know about the ancient divine array. This ancient divine array was the heaven and earth reincarnation. He could no longer be curious about how such a divine array had appeared, but his life was more important. Ancient divine formation, heaven and earth reincarnation. He actually controls such a formation. The battle hasn't even started yet, but he has already taken the initiative. Fairy Spirit Phoenix and Lord Yuan Long were both shocked. They had no choice but to take a serious look at the terror of this young man. Rumble. Between heaven and earth, the mysterious reincarnation aura enveloped the world. The three martial honors and Yan Qingshan disappeared. Yan Qingming and Yan Qingfeng looked at the reincarnation peak in horror. In the middle of the reincarnation peak, a magical light pillar flashed. A furious voice kept ringing out. This voice was none other than the Yan family's supreme martial artist, Yan Qingshan. Stay here for this young master. Buddy, I've modified it. Today, 1 foot 11 inches test your power. If you're a dragon, you should soar between heaven and earth. Li Lingtian shouted after he had finished casting the heaven and earth reincarnation. The divine array was suspended in the air as he dodged Yan Qingming's attack. The entire process only took an instant, but in this instant, the three Supreme Realm experts' joint forces were instantly broken. Li Lingtian activated the divine dragon ring with his divine consciousness. The air trembled and a huge silver-winged flying dragon appeared in the sky. Roar! A thunderous roar shook the hearts of countless warriors. Level 6 silver-winged flying dragon. So he was only at Tier 5, Level 9. How did he become Tier 6 in just 3 months? This advancement speed is too fast. How can he advance so quickly? Although the 6th Order Silver-Winged Flying Dragon is only at level 1 of the 6th Order, it's enough to restrain a First Heaven Martial Honored Realm Expert. All the warriors looked at the Silver-Winged Flying Dragon in shock. Such a powerful demonic beast was more eye-catching than a martial honor. I see. The Silver-Winged Flying Dragon carries the aura of a true dragon. It must have obtained the blood of a true dragon or some mysterious skill of the dragon race. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so powerful. When he saw the silver-winged flying dragon some time ago, it was only level 5, level 9. At that time, it would take at least 10 years to advance, but now it had advanced in 3 months. Moreover, the silver-winged flying dragon carried the true dragon chi on its body. It had undergone a world-shaking change from the last time. If we want to fight, we have to be fair. Yan Qingshan is already resting. You too, who will fight it? Li Lingtian floated in the air and unleashed all his true origin. The true origin of a martial grandmaster was not the true origin of a martial emperor. This time, all the powerhouses were fully aware of Li Lingtian's cultivation realm. He was at most a Tier 9 martial arts grandmaster, not a martial emperor. Third brother, you go and restrain this beast. I'll deal with him. Let's end this quickly. Yan Qingming glanced at the level 6 silver-winged flying dragon. His strength was stronger than his third brother. The young man in front of him was mysterious and terrifying. If he let Yan Qingfeng deal with him, he would not be at ease. Alright, we'll follow the plan. When the time comes, we'll rescue Big Brother. Yan Qingfeng said softly. As soon as he finished speaking, his body disappeared strangely. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the silver-winged flying dragon. Rumble. With a shocking explosion, the silver-winged flying dragon did not hold back at all. It immediately displayed the terrifying power of a 6th Order monster beast and flapped its huge wings. At the same time, a shocking dragon energy was also unleashed. The silver-winged flying dragon did not disappoint Li Lingtian's expectations. It had finally advanced to Tier 6 2 days ago. With the dragon energy tempering, true dragon blood, and true dragon body protection, it had become a true dragon. The silver-winged flying dragon was no longer a low-level demon beast with its shocking cultivation technique and dragon energy. It was a dragon with extremely high intelligence. The silver-winged flying dragon retreated as it fought. In the blink of an eye, the formation was already dozens of miles away from Li Lingtian. At this time, all the warriors were shocked. They did not expect that a young man who did not have high hopes would actually control the entire battlefield in his hands. As soon as he came up, he broke through the joint forces of the 3 Supreme Realm experts, trapped the eldest Yan Qingshan, and lured the third brother away with the silver-winged flying dragon. Now, only the second brother Yan Qingming was left. Good kid, one didn't expect him to be so terrifying. The prince's brother is indeed not simple. Lord Yuan Long looked at Li Lingtian in the air and felt relieved. He had received orders when he came to the scene that he would not let Li Lingtian die no matter what. Even though he was just a spectator, he would definitely intervene if Li Lingtian was in danger. He would never be reasonable as the Windy Moon Palace had never been reasonable. I didn't expect seventh sister to have such good taste. She actually found such a person. Fairy Spirit Phoenix was shocked when she saw Li Lingtian separating the three revered martial artists in the blink of an eye. Now, it's time for us to make a move. Show me your true ability. Don't wait for them to come and save you. Yan Qingshan, without my magic art, you will be trapped inside forever, never to return. Li Lingtian said coldly as he circulated his quintessential essence to the maximum. With a wave of his hand, he unleashed Glacier Rend. Ice river cracks, frost descends from the sky. As he softly shouted, the temperature of the space suddenly dropped sharply. Snow fell between the heavens and the earth, and the 6th month became the 12th month of winter. The entire world was a world of glaciers, as if they had come to the snow region. Icy space. Die! Yan Qingming shouted as a green jade ruler appeared in his hand. He waved his hand and a glacier appeared. The two icy cold worlds collided. The cold air between heaven and earth stunned all the martial artists. They quickly circulated their cultivation techniques to resist the too cold air. Crash! With a crisp sound, the world collapsed. Li Lingtian's body flashed as blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. Although it was a saint weapon, his opponent was a true martial honor. He had lost the advantage he had. The two separated the moment they touched. A Supreme Realm expert with a Supreme Grade Emperor weapon and a martial arts grandmaster with a saint weapon were not a match for a Supreme Realm expert. Let's see what you're really capable of. F***CK, destroy. Li Lingtian's body flickered as the thunderclap wings on his shoulders flapped continuously. He then raised his hands. The space trembled, and a destructive flame appeared in his hand. At the same time, a cold ice flame appeared in his other hand. Li Lingtian's expression turned strange. In the past, he had used flames and glaciers when he used his. However, he had now reached Tier 7 Martial Arts Grandmaster. Now that he had already raised his cultivation to the limit, he had directly used the icy frost flame when he used it just now, and its power had increased explosively. Ice and fire martial souls. Countless warriors cried out in surprise. They were shocked when they saw Li Lingtian's martial soul for the first time. The ice and fire dual martial spirits were extremely rare in the Azure continent. In fact, there hadn't been a single ice and fire dual martial spirit in tens of thousands of years. Heavens beyond, 9 mountains, suppress. Yan Qingming felt the death and destruction in the air and did not dare to be careless. He circulated his true essence. In the beginning, their attacks were just warm-ups. Now, they were using their trump cards. Chapter 273, Chapter 273, Heaven-Destroying Sword Formation, Myriad Swords Return to the Origin. Chapter 273, Heaven-Destroying Sword Formation, Myriad Swords Return to the Origin. A gigantic mountain peak appeared in his hand. The mountain peak was pitch black with a heavy feeling. It was hurtling toward Li Lingtian with shocking power. Hurry up and get out of the way. Retreat quickly. Someone shouted, reminding all the martial artists that in front of such a shocking expert, everyone within 100 miles would be caught in a fish pond. No one had imagined that a young martial artist would actually fight with a Supreme Realm expert like this. It was completely a desperate battle, and for a moment, they were even on par. Rumble. With an earth-shattering explosion, the 9-layered mountain fiercely collided with the pillar of light of the ice, fire/9-layered sky. Li Lingtian's body shot back like a kite with a broken string. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Yan Qingming wasn't in a good state either. Under the destruction of the ice/fire/9 heavens, the 9 mountains were also beaten back to their original state. The icy ice flame hit him, and the cold air in his body kept running around. Take this attack. I want to see how powerful a revered martial artist is. After Li Lingtian had retreated 10 miles, he flapped his thunderclap wings continuously and his entire body disappeared and reappeared. Every time he flashed, a destructive attack would appear on the spot. He would look for an opportunity to unleash all the sword intent in his body. A terrifying sword will appear between heaven and earth. Li Lingtian stood proudly like a sharp sword between heaven and earth as the shocking sword will burst forth from his body. What a terrifying sword intent! What kind of monster is this? He has ice and fire martial souls, and he even cultivates sword Dao and array Dao. He even has alchemy Dao that people look up to. For the first time, Lord Yuanlong and Fairy Spirit Phoenix felt a tinge of fear. Previously, they had been looking down on Li Lingtian, but now, they were no longer looking down on him. Instead, they felt a tinge of fear. Sword intent, not bad. Try my saber intent. Heaven shocking single blade slash. Yan Qingming was also shocked. He was also wary of this young man. Although he had the upper hand, he could not defeat this young man. This young man was like a cockroach that could not be killed. He had countless magical methods, and treasures. A terrifying saber intent destroyed everything in the world. Dozens of silver lights flashed, like dozens of destructive blade lights. Saber intent? You're just trash. Sky sword, sacrifice. Li Lingtian's divine consciousness moved and the Tianyu sword appeared in the air. He then grabbed the sword in his hand. Instantly, his aura changed drastically and his sword will became even more terrifying. The sword intent continued to destroy the wills of all the martial artists. In front of the sword intent, they had no intention of resisting. The pressure of a saint artifact suppressed the space. This was his second saint artifact. All the warriors were shocked. This was because this young man's strength was terrifying, and there were countless saint artifacts. That's right. Among the martial emperors, no one is your match. However, if you encounter me, even if it's a divine weapon, you can only die. In the air, dozens of light shadows merged together and a huge blade radiance slashed down at Li Lingtian. The space was also cut into 2 halves. The saber beam slashed down regardless of the distance between them. He spoke with assurance as if he had seen Li Lingtian being cut in half. Ignorant. Myriad swords returned to the origin. Li Lingtian scoffed coldly as he unleashed the myriad returning swords that he had comprehended. Instantly, regardless of the warriors' swords, they could feel the summoning of the sword will. Countless swords surged toward Li Lingtian. Thousands of sharp swords, spirit weapons, profound weapons, emperor weapons, and any other sword were summoned. A world of swords was formed between heaven and earth. Li Lingtian hovered in the air and swung the Tianyu sword in his hand. Instantly, thousands of sharp swords shot toward the saber radiance with devastating attacks. Yan Qingming was stunned when he saw the countless sharp swords. He never thought that the most terrifying move of the legendary sword Dao would appear. Not only him, Fairy Spirit Phoenix and Lord Yuanlong were also shocked. In the sky, the sword intent destroyed the world. Thousands of sharp swords shot out, and the world exploded. The saber light turned into nothingness, and all the sharp swords were doubled in power. They instantly covered a radius of 1,000 meters, and Yan Qingming was drowned in the sword rain. All! In the rain of swords, there was a shrill scream. Facing the attack of thousands of spirit weapons, profound weapons, and even emperor weapons, let alone a supreme realm expert, even a martial monarch realm expert would lose a layer of skin if they did not die. My spirit weapon. This is my profound armament. The supreme grade profound armament is gone just like that. Damn it, this is my only emperor artifact. 10,000 swords to the origin, you really deserve to die. Countless martial artists revealed a pained expression. Their treasures had actually been summoned away and used as a sharp weapon by others. Their hearts immediately ached. Myriad swords return to the origin, return to your positions. Just as the powerhouses who had lost their treasures were feeling the pinch, Li Lingtian's divine consciousness moved and he brandished the Tianyu sword in his hand. Thousands of sharp swords returned to their owners. Yan Qingming floated in the air. His body was not complete at all, and streams of sword intent were drifting out of his body. His life force gradually dissipated, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness. He, a dignified supreme realm expert, was actually killed by the myriad swords returning to the origin. Second brother. Yan Qingfeng shouted loudly in the sky. His voice was extremely sorrowful. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, another earth-shattering explosion sounded. The silver-winged flying dragon also roared violently, completely displaying the terrifying power of a sixth-order monster beast. Li Lingtian's body swayed and the Tianyu sword disappeared. It returned to his dantian and he spat out a mouthful of blood. If he used the myriad returning swords once, his sword intent would disappear within a month and he would no longer be able to use sword intent. This was the price he was talking about. Such a price had indeed taken away a supreme realm expert. His Zhen Yuan had completely disappeared. He threw a heaven-defying pill into his mouth and his Zhen Yuan instantly recovered to its peak. What kind of pill did he use just now? It actually instantly restored his true essence. This is too heaven-defying. If there was such a medicinal pill, it would be completely undying. If I have a few bottles of such pills, my true qi will be endless. Hey, you guys don't know yet. He's a top alchemist. He can naturally refine some mysterious pills. Countless powerhouses witnessed Li Lingtian's actions and instantly recovered their true essence. How could they not be shocked by such a terrifying thing? Crash. At this moment, a strange sound rang out between heaven and earth. A mysterious black-robed man appeared. His appearance destroyed the reincarnation cycle of heaven and earth. Yan Qingshan also appeared in the air. After he came out, he realized that Yan Qingming had disappeared and immediately felt that something was wrong. Because he had been in the darkness of reincarnation, he did not know what had happened. Li Lingtian was still around while his second brother, Yan Qingming, had disappeared. Meanwhile, Yan Qingfeng was still fighting a silver-winged flying dragon. Big brother, second brother was killed by this bastard. Quickly take revenge for second brother. In the sky, Yan Qingfeng was instantly incomparably excited when he saw his big brother come out. If big brother did not come out soon, he would be killed by Li Lingtian and the silver-winged flying dragon. He would have to leave this world with second brother. What? Qingming died. Yan Qingshan was shocked and spat out a mouthful of blood. This news had given him a heavy blow. Yan Qingming, who had the strongest cultivation, had also been killed. What exactly had happened? Tong Yunfei, are you going to interfere? At this moment, Lord Yuanlong spoke up. Yan Qingshan was originally trapped inside, but judging from the current situation, Li Lingtian and the silver-winged flying dragon could kill Yan Qingfeng with their combined forces. Victory was in sight. However, he didn't expect that someone would suddenly appear. Others might not know this mysterious man in black, but he knew this mysterious man in black. He was the super powerhouse of Kanglan Building, the second level of the Supreme Realm, Tong Yunfei. Humph, the Yen family is a subordinate force of the House of Storms. The Queen's Palace and the Windy Moon Palace are interfering in the affairs of soliciting Moon City. Are we going to stand by and watch? Tong Yunfei said loudly, his face full of disdain. He turned around and sent a voice transmission to Yan Qingshan. Yan Qingshan's face revealed a hint of excitement as he charged at Li Lingtian in a flash. The Queen's Palace is only watching the battle and did not interfere. The House of Storms is very good. They actually interfered with the Yen family's affairs in front of everyone. Since when was the Yen family a subsidiary force of the House of Storms? Fairy Spirit Phoenix said coldly. She was about to dodge when she saw Yen Qingshan attacking Li Lingtian but was stopped by Tong Yunfei. What? Are the three of us going to fight? Tong Yunfei waved his hand, and a silk banner appeared in his hand. The true qi in his body gradually circulated, and he seemed to have the intention to make a move. Humph, is the Windy Moon Palace afraid of your House of Storms? The axe of ascension in Lord Yuanlong's hand was also displayed. The three of them formed a corner formation. Rumble. The three of them were in a stalemate, but in the sky, the two battle groups were locked in a fierce battle. More blood trickled down Li Lingtian's lips. Yen Qingshan's attack did not give him any chance to breathe. He was suppressed for a moment. As a martial arts grandmaster, he could not even use his treasures or skills. He could only rely on his powerful physique and the true dragon's body protection to resist. Kanglin House, I will remember this. If one don't die, I will wipe out your Kanglin House. Li Lingtian's voice rang out in the air, shocking tens of thousands of powerhouses. He actually dared to say that he wanted to wipe out one of the three super forces of the Azure continent, the House of Storms. If he wasn't arrogant, then he must be a fool. However, countless warriors showed admiration. At this time, he still said that he wanted to wipe out the House of Storms. Previously, they had promised to wipe out the Yen clan. Now, one of the Yen clan's revered martial artists had been killed and there were two left. One of them was pinned down by the silver-winged flying dragon while Li Lingtian was facing another. Alright, let's see how you escape today. If you survive, it's not too late to say this. Tong Yunfei was stunned. He had never thought that someone would say that they wanted to wipe out the House of Storms. Moreover, it was a young man who was a martial arts grandmaster. Was this not a joke? In his heart, he did not take it to heart at all. Instead, he felt that it was a little novel. Divine destruction to the extreme, heavenly might. Yen Qingshan watched as Li Lingtian kept flashing and finally seized the opportunity. He quickly waved his hands in the air and a heavenly might appeared. The appearance of the heavenly might made the warriors in the world feel a mysterious pressure and they were on the verge of kneeling down. Li Lingtian's heart was trembling as well. His eyes were filled with fear as he looked up into the sky. A destructive heavenly will came crashing down from his line of sight. Chapter 274, Chapter 274, God's Wrath Descends from the Heavens. Chapter 274, God's Wrath Descends from the Heavens. Li Lingtian was beyond shocked when he felt the terrifying and mysterious pressure. The dragon chi from the divine dragon ring quickly surged into his body, hoping to defend against this extreme god destroyer with offense. Flying dragon strength. With a roar, a shocking dragon energy soared into the sky. Two wyverns appeared, but they felt a hint of fear when they sensed the destructive aura in the air. However, this wyvern was only a power that he had cultivated. It did not resist at all and ruthlessly bombarded the god destroyer in the sky. Boom! With a loud explosion, the flying dragon disappeared and Li Lingtian was blasted down. The reincarnation peak trembled and Li Lingtian vanished as well. He was completely buried in the soil. The ground collapsed, and only after a few breaths of time did it calm down. However, Li Lingtian was nowhere to be seen. There was no trace of his aura as if he had vanished. He won't die just like that, right? The divine destruction is extremely powerful. Only a few people can survive the attack. Is it going to end like this? He should have fallen. There's no trace of his aura. Some of the warriors began to discuss among themselves. With a single move of divine destruction, Li Lingtian was blasted into the ground without a trace of his aura. Tong Yunfei, you gave the god destroyer to the Yen family. Are you really going to make enemies of the Queen's Palace and the Wind Moon Palace? When Lord Yuanlong saw Li Lingtian disappear without a trace, he knew that things were not looking good. When they spoke, they also pulled the Queen's palace together. At least two forces were more powerful. Humph, I've already said that the Yen family is a subsidiary force of the House of Storms. They're just trash. If they die, so be it. Tong Yunfei said coldly, his eyes revealing a disdainful look. However, the only one who knew the inside story was that even the Queen's palace and the Wind Moon Palace combined were no match for the House of Storms. Go and deal with that demonic beast. Don't waste time here. Tong Yunfei turned around and commanded Yan Qingshan coldly. He was already enough to hold back two revered martial artists. Li Lingtian had been killed and there was no need to waste time here. His own matters were more important. All the warriors used their divine perception to search the surroundings but they could not find any trace of Li Lingtian's aura. At this moment, a shocking amount of spiritual energy condensed between heaven and earth, constantly stirring the space. In the sky, streaks of heavenly might descended. All the martial artists were shocked to death. They wanted to escape, but they could not move at all under this heavenly might. Tong Yunfei, Fairy Spirit Phoenix, and Lord Yuanlong were all shocked. This heavenly might came so suddenly, as if a super expert had arrived. Even Supreme Realm experts felt a trace of fear under this kind of heavenly might. Tong Yunfei, you will stay here forever today. The Wrath of the Gods. In the air, the spiritual qi within a radius of 1,000 miles condensed, forming a huge pillar of light between heaven and earth. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. As soon as the voice fell, a strange roar appeared in the sky, as if the heavens were furious. Not good, a heaven-grade divine ability. Tong Yunfei was extremely shocked. This was the first time he had encountered such a threat of death. Even when he met a 5th-level martial honored realm expert, he did not feel this way. He immediately realized that the power in the air was that of a legendary heaven-grade divine art. Great cloud palm, heaven and earth shaking. Tong Yunfei's heart trembled. He didn't have the slightest confidence in facing this god's wrath. He tapped his forehead with his divine sense and a golden light appeared. The golden light flashed and an ancient book appeared in his palm. The book emitted a terrifying power that continued to increase. Tong Yunfei's face was getting paler and paler, because he had to pay a huge price to control this treasure. True essence flowed continuously into the book, and he almost collapsed. In the sky, Li Lingtian had traces of blood at the corner of his mouth. His face was filled with madness as his hair was blown away by the strong wind. Fairy Spirit Phoenix, let's get rid of these two. The Origin Dragon Pavilion sent a voice transmission to Fairy Spirit Phoenix, who was not far away. Alright, you sneak attack Yan Qingfeng, I'll use the Divine Phoenix Zither to kill Yan Qingshan. Fairy Spirit Phoenix also sent a voice transmission back. After which, the two of them nodded and instantly disappeared. Ding! Ding! In the air, a crisp zither sounded, and the destructive sound waves disappeared from the world. At the same time, a shocking power was emitted from the horizon. A huge axe slashed down as if it ignored the distance between them. Ah! Oh! With two screams, Yan Qingfeng was cut into two halves. At the same time, he was at the first level of the martial honored realm. However, His Excellency Yuanlong controlled the divine axe. Coupled with the sneak attack, Yan Qingfeng was not prepared at all. He did not know what was going on until he died. The silver-winged flying dragon's body flashed and quickly shot toward Yan Qingshan. The silver-winged flying dragon, which had gained intelligence, naturally knew the enemy of the Yan family. Since Yan Qingfeng had fallen, it would naturally look for Yan Qingshan. Under the sound wave attack, Yan Qingshan's mind was in a daze as miserable cries sounded. Rumble. The silver-winged flying dragons kept attacking Yan Qingshan. Fairy Ling Feng's divine phoenix zither and the silver-winged flying dragon suppressed Yan Qingshan. However, at this moment, the two destructive auras in the world collided. Li Lingtian hovered in the sky. Endless thunder and destructive attacks surrounded him. Countless destructive thunder and attacks swooped down. In the face of these attacks, even space itself trembled. Meanwhile, Tong Yunfei, who was below, was also extremely shocked. His shocking great cloud palm kept blocking the god's fury descending from the sky. The destruction of the god's wrath descended from the heavens. Each of its streaks was as powerful as a martial emperor's taboo. Li Lingtian's face turned ghastly pale. He no longer had any true essence in his body. After using the heavens' descending divine wrath, he no longer had any true essence to use. Moreover, his body could not support him to use other powerful skills. The endless divine wrath continued to bombard the earth. Even the martial artists hundreds of miles away were constantly torn apart by the residual force, as if the end of the world had arrived. Countless warriors were torn apart and killed instantly. The Reincarnation peak continued to collapse. In the blink of an eye, 2,000-meter-tall mountains were flattened. Tong Yunfei became the target of the god's wrath. Even with the great cloud palm, he couldn't resist it. He wanted to leave, but under the wrath of the gods, he was unable to use his movement technique at all. It was as if he was locked on. He forcefully moved a step, but it was useless because the range of the divine wrath of heaven's attack was 100 miles. Rumble. The explosions continued as Li Lingtian's vital essence was depleted. He looked as if the divine rage was about to disappear. Without his support, the time for the god's wrath to descend was limited. Let's see how much true chi you have. Tong Yunfei had also discovered this problem. As long as he did not die before Li Lingtian's true essence was exhausted, the divine wrath would stop. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he realized that something was not right as Li Lingtian revealed a strange smile on his face. Devouring light. Li Lingtian shouted softly as he waved his hands continuously. Instantly, all the spirit chi, demonic energy, and warrior's true origin within 1,000 miles rushed toward Li Lingtian's hands. Within 1,000 miles, spirit chi, demonic energy, true essence, warriors, and demonic beasts were devoured by Li Lingtian's devouring light as long as they had strength. My primeval essence. Not good, it's the devour skill. This devour can devour a warrior's true chi for its own use. We're done for. My primeval essence. Terrified cries rang out. Tens of thousands of experts were panicking. They did not expect their true essence to be devoured by someone at this time. Fairy Spirit Phoenix and Lord Yuan Long were also extremely shocked. The true essence in their bodies began to flow out continuously. Seal your true essence. Fairy Spirit Phoenix softly reminded Lord Yuan Long. Her body burst out and quickly left the flame green mountain. When she left, a terrifying power blasted out. All. Yan Qingshan saw the destructive attack coming and circulated the true essence in his body. However, the faster the true essence circulated, the faster the true essence flowed out. By the time he discovered it, his true essence had already completely disappeared. Li Lingtian's face revealed a pained expression as tens of thousands of powerhouses, true essence and the heaven and earth's spirit chi gathered rapidly. With the nourishment of tens of thousands of experts and the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, the true essence in his body recovered to his entire body, and his entire body became a carrier. The true essence that he devoured was added to the divine wrath of the heavens, and the power of the divine wrath of the heavens instantly increased by several times. Rumble. Rumble. The Reincarnation peak had disappeared, and the lake was completely destroyed. The area within 100 miles was in a mess. Crash. Finally, Tong Yunfei's defense was broken, and he was exposed to the wrath of the gods. Endless destructive attacks bombarded his body, and in an instant, his entire body turned into ashes. Destroy. Seeing Tong Yunfei fall, Li Lingtian activated his divine consciousness and unleashed a divine wrath from the heavens at Yan Qingshan. Rumble. Yan Qingshan, who did not have any treasures to resist, did not have the slightest resistance. His entire person was crushed into ashes under the wrath of the gods. Rumble. Li Lingtian's eyes revealed a crazed look as he unleashed all of his divine wrath. Tens of thousands of martial artists' true essence flowed out crazily, and the ground continued to collapse. Swoosh. As the final gust of wind blew, the divine wrath from heaven vanished. The world was destroyed and tens of thousands of warriors lost their true essence. They looked at Li Lingtian helplessly in the sky. The area within 100 miles had turned into hell, and there was no spiritual energy left. At that moment, Li Lingtian's body swayed as he spat out a mouthful of blood. The devouring light backfired, and he was on the verge of destruction. No matter what skill it was, there was a price he had to pay for every destructive attack. He landed on the silver-winged flying dragon, and with a flick of his divine consciousness, Little White appeared. A white shadow then disappeared. The white shadow then flashed on the ground and in the air before returning to Li Lingtian's side in a few seconds. Chapter 275, Chapter 275, Self-Healing Body. Chapter 275, Self-Healing Body. Li Lingtian looked at the storage pouches of the 3 Yan clan's revered martial artists in his hands without any change in expression. Because there was still one person whose storage bag was missing, that was the martial honor Tong Yunfei, who was killed. In front of the god's wrath, Tong Yunfei was struck and dissipated. However, Tong Yunfei's storage bag had disappeared. With Little White's sharp sense of smell, it was impossible for such a thing to happen. Something must have happened. He could survive in the face of Rh God Destroyer, so as a martial honor, Tong Yunfei naturally had some mysterious means to survive. From the beginning to the end, no one had thought of how Li Lingtian had survived the ultimate divine destruction. Naturally, they did not know that Li Lingtian also had an Earth-type martial soul with 5 elements perfection. He refined the space banner in his body and cast spatial translocation to enter the ground. With the help of the heavy power of Rh Earth, he offset the endless destructive power and was able to breathe in the earth. With the spatial banner, he could naturally carefully avoid all the martial artist's divine sense lock-on. Moreover, the situation at that time was earth-shattering. Even a Supreme Realm expert would die. No one would doubt that he could survive as a young martial arts grandmaster. Keep an eye on him. Li Lingtian steeled his heart and ordered the silver-winged flying dragon coldly. Little White was also on the silver-winged flying dragon just in case. With that, he turned into a shooting star and shot toward the ground. The moment his body touched the ground, there was no sound. It was as if they had entered Rh water. This situation stunned countless martial artists. It was truly unimaginable that he could do this against Rh hard ground. Even if a stone was thrown into the water would still ripple. However, Li Lingtian's body had mysteriously sunk into the ground. Not only was there no trace of it, there was not even a sound. Boom! After entering the earth, the dense earth energy entered his body. This was the thickness of the earth. Li Lingtian felt the weight and safety of the earth and his heart gradually relaxed. His divine consciousness transformed into 1,000 and finally entered the earth. He put away his ice soul martial soul and flaming sacred body. He used his earth martial soul and instantly merged with the earth. His body was not obstructed by the earth at all. The earth was like air in front of him. Not good, the body of earth healing. After Li Lingtian's divine consciousness transformed into 1,000, countless divine consciousness searched within 100 miles of Reincarnation Peak. Finally, a faint aura appeared. The aura was extremely weak, but to Li Lingtian's surprise, there was more than one aura. Instead, it was the aura of tens of thousands of strands. This aura was obviously the fragments of Tong Yunfei after he was destroyed. The thing that could heal itself with the help of the power of the earth after being destroyed was the legendary healing body. Upon realizing that Tong Yunfei had not truly perished, Li Lingtian quickly calculated in his heart. He had no way to stop the earth healing body now. If he was reborn, he would not only face a second-level Supreme Realm expert, but also a third-level Supreme Realm expert. Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron, withdraw. All of a sudden, he thought of a plan, which was to take away a portion of the aura of these fragments. No matter how powerful the healing body was, it would be impossible for it to be completely reborn. Instantly, the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron emitted a faint light, which disappeared into the ground. In the sky, tens of thousands of warriors were looking down curiously, wondering what Li Lingtian was doing. Only Fairy Spirit Phoenix, Lord Yuanlong, and some super experts understood something, but they did not dare to imagine it. Rumble. On the ground, a halo burst out, and two figures soared into the sky. There was a trace of blood at the corner of Li Lingtian's mouth as he hovered in the air and stared at the other party solemnly. He did not expect that a gray bead would start spinning when he used the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron. The Earth Elemental spiritual qi surged rapidly and countless auras gathered together. Tong Yunfei appeared once again, and the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron only took a small portion of his aura. Seeing Tong Yunfei's body condense, he unleashed a heaven-shattering earth-shattering attack. However, this attack couldn't cause the other party to disperse. Whoosh! All the warriors were shocked. They looked at Tong Yunfei in the air as if they had seen a ghost. Because Tong Yunfei only had half of his body and lacked the rest of his aura, the self-healing body couldn't completely revive him. Call out my soul and I'll spare your life. Tong Yunfei's face was filled with rage. He had never thought that he would be plotted against by a martial arts grandmaster youth. He had been destroyed by the wrath of Arichi gods. He had relied on the miraculous self-healing body of the earth to hide in the ground and heal himself. However, he did not expect to be plotted against by this young man again. He stared at the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron in Li Lingtian's hands in horror as he spoke fiercely. If he could not obtain the other souls, it would take him at least 100 years to regain his original cultivation base and appearance. Yes. A cruel smile appeared on Li Lingtian's face. With a wave of his hand, he conjured a ball of icy frost flame. The icy frost flame entered Rhi Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron and instantly ignited countless souls. With a thought, the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron was purred away and entered the Divine Dragon Ring. Damn it! Seeing this, Tong Yunfei was instantly enraged. His soul would not be able to be preserved by such a cold ice flame. As soon as he finished speaking, a shocking pressure pressed down on Li Lingtian. Life force. Tong Yunfei revealed a vicious expression. Since he wanted to destroy himself, then he would destroy you first. He didn't use any weapons, but circulated a terrifying true essence. The purest true essence in the world was the most terrifying power. The attack pierced through the air. This young master will let you die completely. Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber, Destruction. With a thought of his divine sense, the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber was displayed. This divine artifact had always been incomparably mysterious. Up until now, he had gained partial control of the Roaring Dragon Combat Halberd, but he had no control over the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber at all. Even if he had cultivated the treasure control art, he could only control a little in front of him. He could only prevent his meridians from being destroyed when he used the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber. In the sky, a shocking pressure wreaked havoc within a radius of 100 miles. What a terrifying pressure! It's the pressure of a treasure. This treasure is at least a saint artifact. I didn't think that a person would actually be able to control several saint artifacts. What a perverted pressure! Countless martial artists displayed their defenses to resist the crushing pressure. At the same time, he kept retreating. If he was accidentally killed, it would be a mistake. Boom! With a shocking explosion, the saber light of Rhi Heavenly Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber collided with the life force of the true essence. Immediately, the life force was destroyed and the saber light disappeared. At that moment, Li Lingtian's lips curled into an evil smile. With a flick of his finger, a rain of fire fell from the sky. After casting everything, more blood flowed out of the corner of his mouth and his face was as pale as a sheet of paper. Chi chi, chi chi. A shocking rain of fire descended within a radius of 100 meters. Meteor Shower was an advanced Earth tier skill. Li Lingtian's Tier 7 Warrior Ascendant Cultivation Base was able to unleash a terrifying power. In addition, he had the Sacred Body of Flames and had absorbed the Empyrean Demon's Sacred Flame, the Nine Suns' Sacred Flame, and the Fire Dragon's Heart. The flames in his hands were countless times stronger than ordinary experts. Even the flames of a Supreme Realm expert were child's play in front of him. In the sky, sizzling sounds could be heard continuously. Tong Yunfei kept waving his hands to knock away the terrifying fire rain. However, at this moment, more than 10 fire rain landed on his body and couldn't be knocked away anymore. More than 10 fiery raindrops were like shadows attached to his body. What was even more terrifying was that these fiery raindrops directly entered his body and quickly destroyed his meridians and dantian. Ice Flame. Tong Yunfei finally realized that he had been tricked when he recalled Li Lingtian's control of the ice flame. All of the other party's attacks were used to conceal these cold ice flames. Rhe attack that truly killed him was not the Heaven Extreme Tyrant Emperor Saber, nor was it the rain of fire that filled the sky. It was these tensome fine cold ice flames. With a cry of alarm, all the warriors understood that Tong Yunfei had been tricked again. Moreover, he was entangled by the ice-cold flame. Ah, ah! Tong Yunfei screamed as he rolled in the air. The ice flames formed a patch and devoured the true qi in his meridians. The ice flame was a cold air that could freeze the world and a temperature that could burn everything. The destructive effect produced by the combination of the two mutants was nor something that an attack could compare to. Ah! The screams became weaker and weaker, and the last scream turned his body into air. A trace of his soul was also burned, and his true essence completely became a tonic for the cold ice flames. The air finally quieted down. All the martial artists were shocked. In less than 10 minutes, Rhe3 revered martial artists were killed. Even Tong Yunfei of Rhe House of Storms was lulled. There were many unforeseen events in the process, but no matter what, they were all under Li Lingtian's control. In the end, he had completely annihilated the 4 revered martial artists. One was a 7th-tier martial arts grandmaster youth, and the other was a silver-winged flying dragon. All kinds of schemes were carried out step by step, and the 4 martial honors were also included in the scheme. Pfft! He retracted the ice flame and could not hold it in any longer. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Sir Ling Tian, I'll take my leave. Take care. His Excellency Yuan Long had a lot on his mind. After Li Lingtian had completely lulled Tong Yunfei, he cupped his fists and bade farewell. There was no point for him to stay here. Moreover, he had to report some things back because it was related to the relationship between the Wind Moon Palace and the House of Storms. Thank you, Dragon Pool Pavilion. Here are a few medicinal pills. One hope you can use them. Li Lingtian was stunned for a moment. He understood what Lord Yuan Long was worried about. Although there were 2 revered martial artists watching the battle, they were of great help to him. Moreover, he had offended the House of Storms by killing Tong Yunfei. His Excellency Yuan Long naturally had to go back. With a flick of his divine sense, a jade bottle appeared in front of him. 5 pills floated in the air. With a wave of his hand, the 5 pills flew toward Lord Yuan Long. You can only take it once a day. It's useless to take it more than once. Li Lingtian reminded him. If he continued to use the pills, not only would he waste Rhe pills, he might even lose his life. Sir Ling Tian, thank you. Yuan Long was stunned for a moment before his face lit up with excitement. He had also thought that this pill should be the kind that could instantly restore Li Lingtian's true essence. If he had a few of these pills, he would have an extra chance to save his life. Chapter 276, Chapter 276, Great Cloud Palm. Chapter 276, Great Cloud Palm. After Lord Yuanlong finished speaking, his body flashed and in an instant, he was already in the sky. Ben Gong is leaving. Be careful, don't make my sister sad. Fairy Spirit Phoenix said as she watched Yuanlong leave. However, she did not expect Yuanlong to be one step ahead of her. Your sister. Thank you for your help, Fairy. I am extremely grateful. When the time comes, I will head to the Queen's palace to visit Fairy. Help May. Deliver this. Li Lingtian did not even look at the jade bottle after he finished speaking. With a flick of his finger, the jade bottle quickly flew toward Fairy Spirit Phoenix. He didn't even need to think about it. Since he could come and help her, it must be someone that Shun Mei was very familiar with. Since he said that he wouldn't let her sister be sad, it must be Mei sister. It would be unreasonable to give 5 medicinal pills, but His Excellency Yuanlong only had 5. He could only say that this medicinal pill was for Mei Don't worry, I'll tell her about you. Under the veil, a faint smile appeared on Fairy Spirit Phoenix's cold face. She took the jade bottle and the flying ship quickly flew into the sky. Disciples of the Yen family, leave Moonrise City within a day. Li Lingtian's cold gaze swept across the tens of thousands of warriors as he spoke coldly. The silver-winged flying dragon flapped its huge wings and the silver light was already on the horizon. In the blink of an eye, the silver-winged flying dragon disappeared into the horizon with Li Lingtian. He left behind a light sentence that did not seem threatening at all. However, it gave the impression that there was no room for resistance. Words that were not threatening were indeed the most threatening words coming out of Li Lingtian's mouth. He had killed the Yen clan's revered martial artists. If the Yen clan did not leave Moonrise City within a day, they would be courting death. Tens of thousands of warriors gradually left. Looking at the Reincarnation Peak, they didn't know when the divine formation had been taken away. No one had expected that this place was the burial place of 4 revered martial artists. He did not expect that a young martial arts grandmaster would scheme against the 3 martial arts venerables of the Yen family and kill them one by one. Tong Yunfei's appearance was a change, but this change caused Tong Yunfei's death. This was courting death. If he was sent here, he would naturally be beaten to death. In an instant, Li Lingtian had become the nightmare of countless powerhouses. Despite his cultivation as a martial arts grandmaster, he was able to unleash all sorts of skills and sacred weapons. According to the rules of the divine martial continent, no matter how powerful a martial arts grandmaster was, he could not defeat a martial emperor. Even a peak rank 9 martial arts grandmaster could not be a match for a rank 1 martial emperor. Not to mention the martial ancestor realm martial honor realm. A martial honor realm was a legend and an invincible existence. Even if a martial arts grandmaster could kill a martial emperor could not kill a martial honor. Otherwise, countless martial emperors in Green Continent would be swept away by a martial honor. In front of a martial honor, no matter how many martial emperors there were, they were still ants. It was like countless ants facing a monstrous wave. This time, however, Li Lingtian's appearance broke the pattern in the hearts of all the warriors. Not only did a Tier 7 martial arts grandmaster kill a martial honor, he had also killed 4 of them. Moonrise City was turned upside down. Li Lingtian's name resounded throughout all the powerhouses in Moonrise City. However, Li Lingtian had returned to the top-notch cave abode to recuperate. This time, he appeared to be unharmed but his injuries were extremely serious. His heart was still trembling. He was completely treading on thin ice against 4 Supreme Realm experts. If there was a problem in one link, he would not be harmed. Moreover, after Tong Yunfei appeared, an unforeseen event happened. This unforeseen event almost sent him into the 18th level of hell. Fortunately, his last attack, the God's Fury, had swallowed all the true essence of the warriors. In this way, Tong Yunfei was completely destroyed. Changes could happen at any time in a war. A war without changes wouldn't be called a war. Therefore, After the wrath of the gods descended from the sky, he was no longer shocked by Tong Yunfei's self-healing body. Young master, I heard that you killed the 3 revered martial artists. Qing Ling's face lit up with excitement when she saw Li Lingtian return. He had been waiting in the cave abode and was extremely worried. He was facing 3 Supreme Realm experts. However, she could only stay in the cave dwelling. There was no news of a great battle coming from below. In the end, when he heard that young master had killed the 3 revered martial artists, he was so shocked that he felt dizzy. The 3 revered martial artists had also been killed by young master. Yes. Don't let anyone disturb me. I want to heal my injuries. Li Lingtian called the silver-winged flying dragon into the divine dragon ring before he walked into the practice room alone. When he entered, he told Qing Ling not to disturb him. This time, he didn't seem to be injured, but he had to pay a heavy price every time he used all kinds of skills and divine weapons. Furthermore, it was the first time he had used the Myriad returning swords and the divine wrath of heaven. The Myriad returning swords were treasures of experts. He had also forcefully summoned them. The wrath of the gods was even more serious because he had used the devouring light to devour the true essence of countless martial artists. Now, the true essence in his body was still in chaos. Although the 5 elements had reached perfection, the true essence of these martial artists was different. The strength and nature were also unstable. He had to refine these remaining true essence now. The Yen family, leave soliciting Moon City within a day. If you don't leave, ask Qing Yun to pass on my order to wipe out all the disciples of the Yen family. The Yen family cannot be taken over. After Li Lingtian finished speaking, he cast a restriction and closed his eyes to regulate his breathing. He then began to repair his meridians and refine his quintessential essence. This cultivation and refinement took a full month. In the past month, Moonrise City's forces had been reshuffled. All the disciples of the Yen family left the city within a day. Countless low-level disciples under the Qing Yun sect guarded the Yen family. Even though the people under Clear Sky were warrior spirits and martial kings and there were no martial grandmasters, no one in soliciting Moon City dared to touch them because they had Li Lingtian behind them. The entire Moonrise City had become a strange place. Li Lingtian from the Divine Pill Pavilion was powerful and no one dared to provoke him. However, no one dared to approach him either. This was because Li Lingtian had the support of the Queen's Palace and the Windy Moon Palace, but he had offended the House of Storms. The House of Storms' influence was extremely terrifying. Even the Queen's Palace and the Wind Moon Palace did not dare to provoke the House of Storms. Now, Li Lingtian had single-handedly stirred up the 3 superpowers. Li Lingtian did not expect such a change. His original intention was to build his own faction, but it seemed impossible now. A month had passed. Li Lingtian's body had refined and absorbed so much true essence. Coupled with the power of the elixir, he had achieved Tier 8 martial arts grandmaster in one fell swoop. On this day, Li Lingtian opened his eyes after he had finished his cultivation. With a flick of his divine sense, 4 storage pouches appeared in front of him. The 4 storage pouches belonged to Wu Zun. Seeing the 4 storage bags, he was also curious. He wondered what kind of wealth a martial honor had. The strength of a place or force could be determined by the wealth of a martial honor. This was the first time he had obtained a Supreme Realm storage bag. He did not expect to obtain 4 at once. However, the price he had paid was that he had almost died. That's not right. Li Lingtian opened the 3 storage pouches. They were the storage pouches of the Yen clan's 3 martial honors. In the storage bag, there were only some medicinal pills and cultivation technique jade slips, but there were no spirit stones or medicinal herbs. The 3 Supreme Realm experts were the same. There were 3 Supreme Grade Emperor weapons, more than 10 Earth Grade skills, and the rest were all ordinary. The only thing they could tell was that the 3 old men did not carry their wealth with them. Instead, they had hidden it. Then, he opened Tong Yunfei's storage bag. This storage bag made him excited. Great Cloud Palm, a low-level heaven tier skill. This skill that could resist God's descent was also a heaven rank skill. Although it couldn't compare to his God's descent, it was still powerful enough. There were also 3 billion spirit stones, countless precious materials, and a middle-grade heaven artifact inside. This kind of wealth was indeed what a revered martial artist should have. However, when he was puzzled, a jade slip was sealed by his divine sense. It was also sealed by Tong Yunfei's divine sense. He did not care. Since he was valued by a second-level Supreme Realm expert, he must not be simple. After tidying up everything, he left the training room. This was the first time he had left the training room in a month. Since the wealth of the 3 revered martial artists of the Yen family was not in the storage bag, they should have hidden it. "Do you want to go out with me?" Li Lingtian asked when he saw Qing Ling resting outside. As he spoke, he played with a jade slip in his hand. This jade slip was the map and key to the Yen family's secret chamber. "Young master, you want to go out? This servant will go too." Qing Ling was elated when she saw that Li Lingtian had come out and his injuries were completely healed. Li Lingtian was used to this little girl addressing him as a servant in front of him as well as Qing Ling. However, it was rather interesting to address her as a servant in bed. "Let's go." Li Lingtian nodded and took the lead to walk out. He activated the restriction and the two of them left the cave abode quickly. He didn't say which cave he was going to, and Qing Ling followed him. The two of them were on the streets. Countless warriors stood respectfully at the side when they saw Li Lingtian, not daring to provoke or block his way. Now that Moonrise City knew that Li Lingtian had killed 4 revered martial artists, no one dared to provoke the killer god. After walking for a while, Li Lingtian thought about it and realized that he could not continue like this. If he wanted to go to the Yen family, he would have to walk until tomorrow. With a flash, he pulled Qing Ling into his arms and flew into the distance like a gust of wind. Qing Ling's heart was beating fast. When they were alone, she didn't feel anything. But on the streets, this was the first time she had such close contact with young master. In less than 10 minutes, Li Lingtian stopped. He looked at the tall and magnificent gate and the 100-mile-wide mansion behind it with a faint smile on his face. This was the mysterious and powerful clan in Moonrise City, but it was now empty. "Young master." When Li Lingtian arrived at the door, a warrior king disciple stepped forward and bowed respectfully with a look of admiration on his face. Although he did not witness Li Lingtian killing a revered martial artist, the entire soliciting Moon City was abuzz with the news. Furthermore, all the Yen family disciples had fled like stray dogs. All of this was proof of Li Lingtian's strength. Yes. Li Lingtian headed straight into the mansion. After passing through countless courtyards, he finally reached the deepest part of the mansion. Chapter 277, Chapter 277, Earth Core White Flame. Chapter 277, Earth Core White Flame. His spiritual sense moved and entered the jade slip. Then, he sped up and flew toward a hall. The hall was built entirely from bluestone. Hongda's hall was like a palace. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. When he arrived at the hall, Li Lingtian waved his hands and cast a series of spells. After the last spell was cast, a 2-meter-wide hole appeared in the middle of the hall. Below the hole was a long stone staircase. It was unknown how long the stone staircase was or where it extended to. Li Lingtian did not hesitate at all. With a flick of his divine consciousness, he summoned the silver-winged flying dragon and had it guard the place before he brought Qing Ling down. In the dark passage, the stone stairs extended downwards. The deeper they went, the more humid it was, and the air became more and more oppressive. Qing Ling's heart was thumping in such a place. Her little hands were tightly hugging Li Lingtian's arm. After walking for an unknown amount of time, they finally arrived at the end of the stone stairs. At the end was a huge stone door. On the stone door were restrictions and array formations. "Open." Li Lingtian took a closer look. These formations were mysterious ancient formations. Even though they were not as good as the ancient divine formation, they were amazing enough. It was rare for him to study these arrays. He sent a strand of true essence into the jade slip. The jade slip emitted a faint light, and the light instantly enveloped the stone door. Creak. Boom. Boom. The stone door slowly opened. However, when the stone door opened, it was a hellish flame inside. Qing Ling's face immediately turned red. As a warrior, she was naturally unable to withstand such raging flames. Li Lingtian waved his hand and a light shield enveloped Qing Ling. With the protection of the light pillar, the aura of the flames was completely eliminated. The two of them slowly walked inside. Li Lingtian did not feel anything in the raging flames. He was a flaming sacred body, so naturally, he was not afraid of the flames. In the middle, two passages appeared. On one side, there were endless flames. Moreover, these flames were light purple in the depths. Li Lingtian's heart skipped a beat. It was obvious that the flames here were born from heaven and earth. However, he did not know how powerful the flames were. Then, he looked at another passage. It was no different from an ordinary passage. He scanned the passage with his divine sense and carefully entered it. The passage was 200 meters long, and it was not a straight line, but a winding one. Finally, a spacious underground chamber appeared. Qing Ling was stunned when Li Lingtian opened the stone door of the chamber with a jade slip. This was because the secret chamber was filled with colorful spiritual qi. There were metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and stone door attribute spirit stones. There were also countless medicinal herbs and weapons, as well as countless cultivation techniques and skills. So many spirit stones. After Qing Ling exclaimed, she was stunned. She had never seen so many spiritual stones before. Even in the auction house, Li Lingtian was the one who paid for the spiritual stones. Furthermore, they were all packed in storage bags. How could he not be excited when he saw the house full of spiritual stones? Even Li Lingtian was shocked, let alone him. With so many spirit stones, a conservative estimate would be more than 100 billion. The Yan family had actually reached such a huge wealth after searching for tens of thousands of years. Moreover, there were countless weapons and medicinal herbs in the secret chamber. It seemed that these medicinal herbs and weapons were completely plundered. This was because medicinal herbs were not very precious. There were no 100-year-old, 500-year-old, 1,000-year-old, or 10,000-year-old herbs. The weapons were all spirit weapons and profound level weapons. There were also more than 10 emperor weapons. Not to mention the quality level, just the quantity alone was an astonishing number. Hoarding so much wealth and weapons must be a big scheme. The only explanation was that the Yan family had used this wealth to develop their clan. It seemed that they were quite ambitious. If he used so much wealth to develop his family, he would definitely be powerful. Qing Ling, move aside. Li Lingtian looked at the spiritual stones and shouted at the stunned Qing Ling. Since he wanted to use it to develop his faction, he could also use it. These spirit stones could completely establish a sizable faction. With that, he activated the divine dragon ring with his divine sense. A light shadow appeared, and behind it was a mysterious world. Countless spirit stones quickly entered the divine dragon ring. After a full minute, the herbs, weapons, and spirit stones in the secret chamber were all transferred into the divine dragon ring. He was the ruler of the divine dragon ring, so he was naturally very clear about the number inside. After a rough estimation, the number of spirit stones actually reached more than 320 billion. There were also countless medicinal herbs. There were more than 10,000 spirit weapons and profound level weapons in total, as well as more than 10 imperial weapons. After everything was done, the entire secret chamber was empty. I'll buy you some clothes tonight. Li Lingtian smiled and pinched Qing Ling's little face. These spiritual stones had numbed him. Young master, how how many spirit stones are there? Qing Ling asked happily. Even though young master had taken all these spirit stones, he would definitely give them to her if she needed them. Just 300 billion. After Li Lingtian finished speaking, he began to search the secret chamber with his divine consciousness but found nothing. Qing Ling was stunned on the spot. This amount, let alone him, anyone who got it would be shocked. He didn't call out to Qing Ling, he just hugged her and quickly walked out. He came to the passage of the flames again and his divine sense entered the jade slip. In the end, he muttered to himself. According to the records on the jade slip, the fiery flame passage was the place where the three revered martial artists often went into seclusion. It was indeed rare to choose a training room behind the blazing flames. If the Yen family cultivated a fire-type martial soul, it would be fine. It was also very normal. However, most of the people in the Yen family cultivated ice-type martial souls. This blazing flame was too strange. Xiao Bai, look after her. Li Lingtian called Little White out and handed it over to Qing Ling. Little White glanced at Li Lingtian before it snuggled up to Qing Ling and fell asleep. Qing Ling wanted to follow Li Lingtian when she saw him enter the flaming tunnel alone. However, her cultivation was too low and she did not have the ability to withstand the power of the flames. Chi-chi. Chi-chi. In the fiery passage, endless flames burned continuously, and hissing sounds were heard from time to time. Li Lingtian activated his flaming sacred body. Despite facing the raging flames, he did not feel anything as he walked forward step by step. After an unknown period of time, Li Lingtian realized that the passageway extended downwards. The further down he went, the more terrifying the flames became. Even with his flaming sacred body, he had to circulate his cultivation technique to resist. In the end, he couldn't withstand it. Ice Soul Martial Soul. The flaming sacred body couldn't resist it anymore, so he used the Ice Soul Martial Spirit. Under the double power, the effect of the flame disappeared. Hush! Finally, after passing through the passage, they arrived at an empty space. Rather than calling it an empty space, it was more like the edge of the flames. At that moment, Li Lingtian's gaze was attracted by a ball of white flames that was burning incessantly. This ball of flame was completely different from the other flames. This was because this ball of flames carried a strange earth element aura, as if it had been underground for a long time. Swoosh! At this moment, the white flame flashed and flew up automatically. However, the range of this flame was only within 10 meters. As if he was imprisoned by something, Li Lingtian looked at the ground carefully. He immediately understood that this ball of flames had been imprisoned. There was a mysterious formation on the ground. The formation emitted a faint aura that was enough to confine the white flames. Li Lingtian's interest was piqued when he saw the array diagram. He sat cross-legged and began to study it carefully. Instantly, the expression on his face kept changing, sometimes happy and sometimes depressed. Divine destruction to the extreme. Li Lingtian cried out in surprise. He did not expect the array to contain a heaven-ranked divine ability. He was almost killed by that move. So this was the skill cultivated by the Yen family. However, this divine power skill had a total of 3 moves. Yen Qingshan had not even mastered the first move. Otherwise, even if he had 10 lives, he would have died long ago. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. He flicked his 10 fingers and cast spells one after another. Golden characters were transmitted into his sea of consciousness. Bang! With a soft sound, the formation shattered, and the faint aura dissipated. Just as the formation shattered, the white flames exploded with destructive power. Although it was only the size of a fist, it carried a destructive burning power. Li Lingtian was also hit hard and his body was thrown out with a trace of blood trickling down the corner of his mouth. Earth Core White Flame. Li Lingtian cried out in surprise. The flame was not an ordinary flame but a type of flame, the Earth's Core White Flame. It was one of the most terrifying flames in the world, and this geocentric white flame even had spirituality. Swoosh, swoosh. The geocentric white flame shot straight at Li Lingtian. It was trying to possess him. Li Lingtian smiled bitterly in his heart. What kind of world was this? He had a flaming sacred body, yet he was being possessed by the flames. Was this not a joke? With a thought, he activated the flaming sacred body. The 9 suns sacred flame, the Empyrean demon's sacred flame, and the fire dragon's heart were unleashed. Although he had already fused 3 types of flames, he could easily separate them. Now that they were combined, even the most terrifying flames in the world would not dare to say that they were a match for the 3 types of flames in his body. You want to run? There's no way. Seeing that the geocentric white flame was about to escape, Li Lingtian immediately shouted. A tiger that did not show its might would be a sick cat. Now that it had seen how powerful it was, it wanted to run away again. There was no such thing in this world. After saying that, he activated his divine sense and unleashed the raging flames in his body, quickly attacking the earth core white flame. In the blink of an eye, the 2 raging flames intertwined and a destructive devouring force was emitted in the air. After a quarter of an hour, the geocentric white flame could no longer put up any resistance as it was completely engulfed by Li Lingtian's raging flames. He opened the divine dragon ring with his soul consciousness and took out a jade box. He opened more than 10 seals and restrictions. He grabbed with one hand and the white flame entered the jade box. He closed the box and cast countless seals. The box was covered with restrictions and seals. After everything was done, he threw the box into the divine dragon ring. Chapter 278, Chapter 278, Extinction, 1. Chapter 278, Extinction, 1. After putting away the geocentric white flame, Li Lingtian looked around and did not find anything else. This place was also where the 3 Supreme Realm experts cultivated. The entire family's wealth had also been taken away by him. The cultivation techniques were all his family's cultivation techniques, and he didn't care about them at all. The only heaven-tier skill, extreme divine destruction, was also in this place. Following that, Li Lingtian's body flashed as he quickly flew out. When he arrived outside, Qingling and Little White were still waiting. Qingling's face was filled with worry and anxiety. He was relieved to see Li Lingtian safely out. Young master, did you find anything inside? Qingling knew Li Lingtian's personality well. Under normal circumstances, he would not hide anything from her. In fact, Li Lingtian had nothing to hide. Other than his identity, he had nothing else to hide. As for the origin of the cultivation technique, he had gone to many places to train, so it naturally came from the places where he trained. It's nothing much. One just got a ball of flames. At that time, I can raise my ice, fire, 9 heavens to the 3rd heaven. Li Lingtian had a confident smile on his face. He did not expect to reap such a huge harvest after this battle. He had obtained a great cloud palm and ultimate god destroyer, as well as the Yen family's wealth. He still could not understand why the House of Storms would appear at this time and help the Yen family. He would never believe that they were interested in the Yen family's power. 3 revered martial artists were indeed impressive in a place like soliciting Moon City. However, in the eyes of the House of Storms, revered martial artists were only martial arts grandmasters. It was likely that he had taken a fancy to some item or wealth of the Yen family, or it was this god destroyer. The 2 of them left the passageway and returned to the hall. The silver-winged flying dragon was retracted. Li Lingtian quickly returned to his cave abode. He had to make some arrangements for his future plans. Now that the Yen clan had been wiped out from Moonrise City, countless major forces had adopted a wait-and-see attitude toward Li Lingtian. After all, Li Lingtian's strength was displayed here. However, he had offended one of the 3 super forces, the House of Storms. If the House of Storms were to come looking for him, no matter how powerful Li Lingtian of the Divine Pill Pavilion was, he would not be able to fend them off. There was more than one revered martial artist in House of Storms. There were even martial emperors, let alone revered martial artists. It was easier to eliminate a martial arts grandmaster than to eliminate an ant. His position in Moonrise City was mysterious. Others did not dare to provoke him easily, nor did they come to curry favor with him. This way, it was in line with his wishes. His cultivation base was still too low to leave Moonrise City easily. Unless he encountered some good skill or treasure, or he needed some kind of material, he would definitely not leave easily. It was still his strength. His cultivation was too low. It was impossible for him to really fight with a Supreme Realm expert. In the cave abode, Li Lingtian allowed Green Cloud to develop rapidly. Spiritual stones were not a big deal. The main thing was for him to gain more information. With Qing Yun taking care of everything outside and Qing Ling taking care of the cave, he could cultivate in peace. Li Lingtian sat cross-legged in the practice room with a calm expression on his face. Looks like I have to cultivate the ice, fire, 9 heavens to the 3rd heaven. One also have to fully control the myriad returning swords and the divine wrath of heaven. Also, one have to improve the true dragon body protection. If one can comprehend the extreme god destruction and great cloud palm, that would be even better. Sigh, why can't one control the heaven extreme tyrant emperor saber? Li Lingtian muttered to himself. The only thing he could do now was to upgrade these skills. The improvement of his cultivation was not something that could be done in a day or two. He could only focus on his skills. Thinking of the divine weapon, the heavenly extreme tyrant emperor saber, he always felt regretful in his heart. Even if he used the treasure control technique, he could not completely control it. This was mainly because his cultivation was not enough. Then, he decided to cultivate his skills first and use pills to increase his cultivation. After refining the medicinal pill to increase the realm of the demon beast, the silver-winged flying dragon had completely become his life-saving helper. Following that, Li Lingtian rarely left the cave abode. He spent most of his time in the practice room cultivating his skills, refining pills, heaven and earth reincarnation, and true dragon's body barrier. Naturally, he would not let go of a trump card like the divine array diagram. When he was free, he would check on the news of Moonrise City with Qing Ling, as well as the news around Moonrise City and the movements of the Azure continent. Naturally, the little girl worked hard on her cultivation. She would only stop her cultivation when Li Lingtian was resting to accompany him. With Li Lingtian's guidance, pills, and mystical cultivation methods, her cultivation base improved by leaps and bounds. In just 2 short months, he had already reached Tier 7 warrior spirit. Although it was nothing much, such progress was still shocking. On this day, Li Lingtian was in the practice room with a solemn and serious expression. Ice, fire, 9 heavens, refine them for me. After pondering for a while and calming himself down, he used his divine consciousness to take out the brocade box from the divine dragon ring. The geocentric white flame was unsealed. Immediately, the destructive devouring power filled the entire training room. Li Lingtian cast a spell and unleashed a powerful inferno. The destructive inferno protected his palms while his left hand was the icy flame while his right hand was the geocentric white flame. With 2 extreme attributes in Li Lingtian's hands, although the icy frost flame was a mutated attribute, Li Lingtian was able to balance the ice and flames under his control. With a determined expression, he circulated his true essence and protected his entire body with the true dragon body barrier. As he clasped his hands together, the 2 ultimate destructive forces collided. Li Lingtian's entire body was caught between ice and fire. This wasn't the first time he had experienced such an experience. He had experienced it when he created the 9 heavens of ice and fire. It was the same when he reached the 2nd heaven. The icy frost flame and the geocentric white flame continued to refine. Finally, after an hour, the 2 ultimate attributes in Li Lingtian's hands were refined. Ice, fire, 9 heavens had also undergone a mutation, and its power was even more terrifying. Inadvertently, a trace of the aura of extermination floated out, causing the power of the ice/fire/9 heavens to reach a level of extermination. Ice, fire, 9 heavens. The third heaven is called extinction. Death, destruction, extermination. Li Lingtian replied indifferently with a hint of vicissitudes on his face. In this world, becoming a powerhouse meant stepping over the corpses of countless geniuses and powerhouses. Since there was a war, people had to die. Those who died were naturally the opponents of death. Extinction was to exterminate all living beings in the world with a single strike. The first two moves, each of which carried death and destruction, this one was extermination. Its power was many times stronger than the previous two. Each level was the distance between heaven and earth. This was the ice/fire/9 levels. The current 9 heavens of ice/fire, even if he encountered a Supreme Realm expert again, he would still be able to make a Supreme Realm expert lose a layer of skin even if he did not die. For martial artists, no matter when, whether it was their cultivation method or skill strength, a little improvement would increase their chances of survival. There was no such thing as luck in this world. There was only power. Now that the ice/fire/9 heavens had reached the third heaven, his strength had also increased greatly. As long as he did not encounter a Supreme Realm expert, there was no one who could withstand his ice/fire/9 heavens. The last time, a rank 9 martial emperor had used the Paradise Mirror to break the ice/fire/9 heavens. However, the Paradise Mirror was already in his hands. Moreover, even if someone used the Paradise Mirror now, his ice/fire/9 heavens would not be broken. When the ice/fire/9 heavens reached the third heaven, the myriad returning swords also continued to improve, and the true dragon body barrier also gradually strengthened. God's wrath could also slowly improve. Every time he improved, his strength would increase by a level. However, in his spare time, he set his eyes on the extreme god Extermination and the great cloud palm. These two were both heaven-grade divine abilities. He didn't care about the other earth-ranked skills at all. After all, even if he didn't cultivate a skill that had reached the transcendent state, it would still be at the transcendent state. The transcendent state was the ability to use a skill at will, and its power would reach an unimaginable level. Paradise Mirror, refine. Jade Light Ruler, refine. Shield of the Earth, refine. Clear Wind Shuttle, refine it. Li Lingtian was refining 4 treasures in the practice room. The Grotto Heaven Mirror and the Clear Wind Shuttle were superior imperial weapons, while the Jade Ray Ruler and the Shield of Earth were inferior celestial weapons. Now that he thought about it, he really had some luck in killing Tong Yunfei. Tong Yunfei was caught off guard. He did not know that he would be alive after being killed by the ultimate god destroyer. He could not imagine that Li Lingtian would sneak an attack on him. He did not even have the time to use treasures like the Shield of the Earth and the Jade Light Ruler. If a second-level Supreme Realm expert used a heaven artifact, he would die no matter how powerful he was. Tong Yunfei was the one who died the most grievously. He was killed without even using a single attack. These 2 heaven artifacts were now his. It was rare for him to refine the supreme-grade emperor artifacts of the Yen family's 3 revered martial artists, so he had his eyes on the Grotto Heaven Mirror and the Bright Wind Shuttle. There were many monarch artifacts in his divine dragon ring, so he naturally had no use for them. Moreover, he did not even have the time to care about divine artifacts. How could he have so much energy to refine an emperor artifact? Now, his opponents were rank 9 martial emperors and martial honors. As for the experts below rank 9 martial emperors, he was not in the mood to care about them. After refining several treasures, Li Lingtian walked out with a faint smile on his face. During this period of time, the increase in his strength, the refinement of treasures, and the wealth of the Yen family were all his assets. Now, he had about 400 billion spiritual stones in his divine dragon ring. There were also countless medicinal herbs and weapons. If these items were taken out, they would also be worth countless spirit stones. Young master, your strength has increased. You look a little different. Qing Ling smiled happily when she saw Li Lingtian come out. However, she could not see through Li Lingtian when she looked at him. Yes, I've improved a little. Li Lingtian nodded. It was a good thing that he had gained both cultivation and strength during this period of time. However, he knew that the road ahead of him would be dangerous and he did not relax at all. The House of Storms was like a huge mountain pressing down on him. He also had to deal with Tang Qingyue and Yun Yaoyao, as well as Shun Mei. Chapter 279, Chapter 279, Heaven Nourishing Root. Chapter 279, Heaven Nourishing Root. Qing Ling was naturally delighted when she heard that Li Lingtian's cultivation base had improved. Li Lingtian's strength would be beneficial to her as well. Regardless of which aspect, Li Lingtian's achievements would determine her fate. If Li Lingtian's strength was too weak, he would not be able to win against the strong and he would no longer have an umbrella to protect himself in the future. Furthermore, as Li Lingtian's maid and his woman, she would always side with Li Lingtian in everything. Right, young master, Big Brother sent me some news 2 days ago. It's very interesting. Qing Ling thought of the news that Qing Yun had sent 2 days ago. There was a piece of interesting news. It was interesting to experts, but it didn't affect low-level warriors. What is it? Li Lingtian stretched his body before finally lying down on a recliner that he made when he had nothing to do. Enjoying the massage from Qing Ling's slender fingers, her face revealed a comfortable expression. It seems like the heaven's patching root has appeared on the Cloudwood Peak. There are 3 sections of the root. One section was taken away by a mysterious powerhouse, and the other 2 sections are still in the hands of a 9th-level martial emperor. Furthermore, countless powerhouses are scrambling for this heaven's patching root. Young master, what use do you think this heaven-nourishing root has? It's just a plant's root. Is there a need to risk your life to fight for it? Qing Ling revealed a puzzled expression. So many experts were actually here for a single root. She could understand if it was a competition for a heaven artifact or a magical pill, but it was definitely not worth it for a root. At the very least, she would not compete. What? Heaven-nourishing root? Li Lingtian sat up immediately with an excited expression on his face. He looked at Qing Ling seriously. His action startled Qing Ling. The usually steady young master was actually so excited when he heard about the heaven-nourishing root. Yes, Big Brother said that the people below received the news that it was the heaven-nourishing root. There are a total of 3 sections. Qing Ling didn't know what this heaven-nourishing root was used for, but since young master was so excited, it definitely wasn't simple. In her heart, young master didn't care about ordinary items at all because he was worth hundreds of billions and had countless treasures on him. His skills were also extremely powerful. Furthermore, he was a top-level spirit alchemist. The pills he refined were enough for him to use. Naturally, he did not need to be excited about other treasures. Then, he repeated the news of the heaven-nourishing root. You rest in the cave abode. This young master is going out for a while. This heaven-nourishing root is a necessary material for refining a tier 6 medicinal pill. It is also a supplementary material. When refining a medicinal pill, adding a little heaven-nourishing root can increase the quality and tier of the medicinal pill. Moreover, this heaven-nourishing root is not only a material for a tier 6 medicinal pill, but also a material for other medicinal pills. As long as it is a medicinal pill, adding the heaven-nourishing root will produce a shocking effect. If a martial artist obtains this heaven's patching root, he can refine his own physique and improve his martial soul. It can reduce the difficulty of breaking through the bottleneck. Li Lingtian gave a simple explanation. He only mentioned some simple effects, but the true power of the heaven-nourishing root was far more than that. As a pill refiner, if he were to give up on such a heaven-defying item, wouldn't it be a waste of his fortune? Young master wants to go out, do you need Qing Ling to go with you? Qingling wanted to go out as well, but the powerhouses who were competing for the heaven nourishing route were all martial emperors. There were even martial honors who were competing for it. If she went, she would only be a burden to Li Lingtian. You can cultivate in the cave. One will go out alone. Li Lingtian stood up and was about to leave as soon as he finished speaking. He had to get his hands on such a treasure. Qingling nodded obediently as she helped Li Lingtian tidy up his clothes. 5 days ago, at Cloudwood Peak. Cloudwood Peak was a mountain range between Moonrise City and Cloudwood City. This mountain range belonged to the common territory of Moonrise City and Cloudwood City. This place was rich in spiritual energy, but very few people went to cultivate because martial artists could not obtain spiritual energy when they came here. The spiritual energy that appeared was absorbed by the trees, and the trees emitted spiritual energy. This cycle was so repeated that martial artists could not cultivate, but these trees were full of spiritual energy, almost becoming spirits. Countless trees that were over 10,000 years old could be seen everywhere. It was also the place where countless powerful demon beasts lived. On this day, auspicious clouds descended from the sky, and a strange sign appeared in Cloudwood Peak. Countless powerful beings rushed over. After waiting for a day, multicolored light flashed in the depths of Cloudwood Peak, and 3 trees with mysterious auras appeared. Each section of the tree was only 1 meter long, like a vine. Seeing these 3 sections of vines, countless experts recognized that this was the Heavens Patching Route. The appearance of the Heavens Patching Route had attracted countless experts to fight for it. Li Lingtian quietly left soliciting Moon City and quickly flew toward Cloudwood Peak. However, he didn't hurry on his way because such a treasure would definitely not be at the Cloudwood Peak if it was fought over by experts. As they flew, they asked around. Such a huge commotion would definitely not be unknown. As expected, Li Lingtian received news that one of the heaven nourishing routes had landed in Pingyang City. Pingyang City was no ordinary city. It was a city belonging to one of the Azure continent's top 10 super clans. Such a family was not a small family like Moonrise City. This family had existed for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years. The clan was extremely powerful, and the power of the entire clan was countless times stronger than that of Moonrise City. The Ping family, one of the 10 great families, was located in Pingyang City. This city was named after the Ping family. Soliciting Moon City was the size of Azure Continent, which was equivalent to the power of Tranquil Sun City. In the Ping family, martial grandmasters and martial emperors were everywhere, but there were more than 300 martial emperors and 20 martial honored realm experts in the Ping family. Li Lingtian could only shake his head at the thought of how such a powerful force was unshakable. He was in trouble. Strong enemies were everywhere, including the House of Storms and the Dishi family. They couldn't mess with the Ping family now. As he flew, he calculated. He was less than 10,000 miles away from Pingyang City. Sigh, forget it. Let's not talk about anything else. Just the martial emperor of the Ping family alone can crush me to death. It's better not to make enemies so easily. Li Lingtian looked into the distance. With his current cultivation base, it would only take him an hour to cover a distance of 10,000 miles. He could not provoke the Ping family, so he might as well not enter Pingyang City. If he went somewhere else, there would still be 2 pieces of the heaven nourishing route. He sighed and quickly flew into the distance. Rumble. After flying for less than 2 hours, Li Lingtian hovered above a huge sea area with a look of horror on his face. Such a commotion was definitely a great battle between super experts. The place where the battle was taking place could be felt from thousands of miles away. This place was the territory of the Ping family. They did not expect that someone would dare to fight in the territory of the Ping family. His figure flashed and he quickly hid himself. He entered the sea area. He was at the 5 elements perfection, so he was like a fish in water when he entered the sea area. In the water, he could use his water martial soul to its fullest. His body shot through the sea like an arrow. In a moment, he arrived at the place where the battle was taking place. He concealed his spiritual sense and aura, hiding beside a sea beast and observing the situation in the sky. 4 9th-level martial emperors and a 1st-level martial honored realm expert were floating in the air. Opposite them was a 2nd-level martial honored realm elder. There was blood at the corner of the old man's mouth. It seemed that he was injured quite badly. The other 5 people's faces were also extremely solemn. The emperor weapons in their hands kept bombarding. Ping Haoji, hand over the heaven nourishing root. It's useless to keep it with you. Dongfang Yunlong said loudly. The 4 9th-level martial emperors attacked together. For a moment, they were on par with the 2nd-level martial honored realm experts. Moreover, he still had a trump card that he had yet to use. If he wasn't worried that Ping Haoji would destroy the heavens patching root, he would have used it long ago. Dongfang Yunlong, you must be dreaming. Do you know where you are? Ping Haoji said loudly. After countless battles, he had finally obtained the heavens patching root. Naturally, he would not give up so easily. Moreover, this place was the Ping family's territory. As long as he delayed for a while, the Ping family's experts would come. Thinking about the people in front of him, his heart was burning with anger. He had fought a great battle and defeated countless supreme experts to obtain the heaven mending root, but these 5 people had been secretly attacking him. Pingyang City, haha, how much longer do you think you can delay? Dongfang Yunlong said loudly. His face turned gloomy and his lips opened and closed. No one knew what he was saying to the 4 of them. When their lips stopped moving, they stopped attacking as well. The attacks of the 4 9th-level martial emperors became even more intense. Although the 4 rank 9 martial emperors were powerful, they were just ants in front of a 2nd heaven martial honored realm expert. However, they could still stall for some time. After Dongfang Yunlong stopped, his face turned solemn. He drew a strange line in the air with his hands, causing the space to tremble slightly. Li Lingtian watched the battle in the sky from below the sea. He could hear the powerhouse's words clearly and could only smile bitterly in his heart. He did not expect to meet a martial honor of the Ping family here. The news that the Ping family had obtained the heavens patching root was true, but the heavens patching root was not in the Ping family. Instead, it was with the martial honor of the Ping family. The person who spread the news was definitely not friendly to the Ping family. If they knew that the heaven nourishing root was in the Ping family would be hunted down by countless experts. Li Lingtian had no choice but to conceal his aura completely when he noticed the situation in the sky. He could not participate this time. The wrath of the heavenly river. Dongfang Yunlong shouted softly. Li Lingtian immediately felt that something was amiss. His opponent had a water martial soul as well. If he used his water martial soul, he could no longer hide in the sea area. As expected, the ocean churned when Dongfang Yunlong unleashed the heavenly river's fury. The endless seawater formed a shocking pillar. Li Lingtian did not even have the chance to react before he was sucked into the water pillar. Chapter 280, Black and White Peerless. Chapter 280, Black and White Peerless. Dongfang Yunlong exclaimed in surprise. He had also discovered that there was a warrior inside his water column. However, this martial artist did not have the slightest aura. No aura, which was why he did not notice the existence of other people here during the battle. Li Lingtian could feel the destructive aura in the water column. The rage of the heavenly river was a martial honor's trump card, so it was not to be provoked. Now, he could only pretend to be dead. If he was found alive, he would be in trouble. He kept calculating in his heart. In this water pillar, if he did not want to be discovered, it was impossible for him to get out. As long as he moved and used any skill, the other party would notice. Rumble. In the middle of the sky and sea, the monstrous waves continued to gather, forming twisted water columns that continued to grow stronger. Water was soft, but at its peak, it was also the most domineering attack in the world. When Ping Haoji saw the heavenly river's fury, he was also extremely shocked. He had finally realized what he was worried about. As expected, Dongfang Yunlong was in a hurry to make a move. He would not be able to wait for the Ping family's reinforcements to arrive. Divine Dragon Slash. After Ping Haoji negated the attacks of the 4 9th-level martial emperors, a destructive aura emanated from his body. A strange weapon appeared. The weapon carried a destructive pressure. With a casual wave of his hand, a light shadow slashed at the water pillar. The power of the light shadow directly split the sky into 2 halves, and in the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of the water pillar. The 2 shocking attacks collided fiercely, and a destructive force erupted in the air. Under the impact of this force, the 4 martial emperors spat out a mouthful of blood and were thrown out. The aftershock of the attacks of 2 supreme realm experts was something that a martial monarch realm expert could withstand. Rumble. Rumble. With a series of explosions, the Divine Dragon Slash's attack quickly split the water pillar apart, but the water pillar continued to fuse as if there was no end to it. However, Li Lingtian, who was in the water pillar, was shaken by the attacks from the 2 supreme realm powerhouses. If this continued, he would die in there. His face hardened. He had already offended countless powerful enemies. It was not a big deal to provoke the Ping family. 1 more debt was not too much, and 1 less debt was not too little. At the thought of this, he circulated his true essence and executed the Ice, Fire, 9 Heavens. Ice, Fire, 9 Heavens, Level 3, Extermination. After the Ice, Fire, 9 Heavens reached the 3rd level, it took only an instant for the 2 Supreme Realm experts to realize the change in the sky when the skill was activated. He didn't expect that there would be other experts here besides him. By the time they reacted, it was already too late. Moreover, the 2 of them had already used their moves. It was impossible to retract them. The old strength had already been exhausted, and the new strength had yet to be born. Their faces revealed fear. A 4-colored beam of light followed the water pillar and crashed into Ping Haoji. Behind the icy, fiery 9th heaven beam of light, Li Lingtian's body flashed and disappeared. The sea area was filled with the aura of extermination. This aura of extermination terrified the 2 martial honors and the 4 martial emperors. They did not expect that there would be such an overbearing aura in this world. I don't want to. Ping Haoji saw the aura of extermination coming towards him. The pillar of light continued to destroy the water pillar and the divine dragon slash. This was the first time he had seen such a domineering attack. In front of this attack, a negative effect was produced in his heart. He didn't even have the reaction to dodge. Rumble. The shocking pillar of light directly broke through the divine dragon slash's attack and bombarded Ping Haoji's body. At the same time, a destructive crisis appeared behind him. A sharp and overbearing cold air was released, and his entire body was frozen. All. With a miserable cry, the pillar of light struck his body, and his body quickly lost its vitality. The cold air behind him also froze his entire body. Ping Haoji lost all signs of life as he screamed. His eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness as a young man in white appeared behind him. Dongfang Yunlong and the 4 9th-level martial emperors also saw the young man behind Ping Haoji. When they saw this young man, they felt a wave of fear and confusion. This young man did not have any cultivation at all, but he killed a 2nd-level martial honored realm expert in 1 strike. Although he had used his trump card and the white-robed young man's sneak attack, he also realized how terrifying the destructive power of this pillar of light was. If he encountered it, he did not know what treasure he would use to block it. Crash. An ear-piercing shattering sound rang out as Ping Haoji's body was instantly shattered into pieces. The pieces were no different from ice cubes. A storage pouch and a strange weapon fell into the hands of the white-robed youth. Sir, aren't you being a little unreasonable? I've been risking my life for the heaven-nourishing root until now, but now you're taking it all by yourself. Dongfang Yunlong did not agree when he saw Li Lingtian take away the storage pouch and weapon. The young man before him was terrifying, but he was unwilling to let his scheming and risking his life to benefit someone else. You want this heaven-nourishing root? You've been risking your life all this time, but if it's useful, you still need people to join hands. I'm really ashamed of you. Li Lingtian completely ignored Dongfang Yunlong, who was a first heaven martial honor. However, after fighting for so long, he had exhausted a lot of his energy. Even if he did not defeat a martial honor, it would be easy for him to leave with his current cultivation and strength. You, damn it. Dongfang Yunlong's face turned red when he heard that. How could he still have any face when he was insulted in front of everyone? Not only did he snatch the heaven-nourishing root, but he was also humiliated. It was indeed unbearable for him. Moreover, this young man looked to be only 18 years old. He did not have any cultivation at all. He must have hidden his cultivation. He was a supreme realm expert. Why would he be afraid of a young man? Are you not convinced? Even if you don't like it, you better endure it. 2. Li Lingtian's body flashed as soon as he finished speaking. He flew away quickly without any room for negotiation. He had killed the Ping clan's revered martial artist. If he were to fight Dongfang Yunlong, he would be in trouble when the Ping clan's experts arrived. Leave it for me. Dongfang Yunlong was completely enraged. He waved his hands again, and the seawater in the world quickly gathered, forming a 1,000-meter-tall wave. The wave was crystal clear, like ice crystals. It was emitting a destructive aura, and the huge wave came crashing down on Li Lingtian in an instant. Li Lingtian could not help but tremble under the immense pressure as he was shocked. If he had used this move in the beginning, he would not have been able to leave the water pillar so easily, let alone kill Ping Haoji. Jade Light Ruler, break! He stretched out his hand, and a foot-long jade ruler appeared. Spiritual energy quickly gathered on the jade ruler, and a dazzling light appeared. The dazzling light gently slashed towards the shocking huge wave. Crash! The dazzling light of the jade light ruler entered the huge wave, and the huge wave was destroyed by the unbearable destruction. Immediately, the huge wave was quickly split into two halves and quickly dissipated. Li Lingtian did not stop at all as he quickly flew into the distance. Damn it! Dongfang Yunlong was shocked when he saw his powerful attack being broken in the blink of an eye. At the same time, he felt a trace of fear. This young man had used a heaven artifact right away. Although it was only a low-grade heaven artifacts were extremely rare in the Azure continent. Only martial honors had the chance to obtain it. This young man did not seem to have any cultivation, but his strength and methods were extremely terrifying. Coupled with his tone and heaven artifact, he did not dare to underestimate this young man. By the time he reacted, could it be that his figure was already in the sky? Martial uncle, should we chase after them? A 9th-level martial emperor asked Dongfang Yunlong in a low voice with a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth and a terrified look on his face. 2. I'm chasing your mother. Can you beat him? Dongfang Yunlong was instantly enraged. He had been suppressed by a young man. Just as he was worried that he had nowhere to vent his anger, someone sent him up. A loud slap was sent out, and the 9th-level martial emperor who asked the question was instantly stunned. Li Lingtian's body flashed rapidly, leaving Dongfang Yunlong far behind. As he flew, he sent a wisp of his soul consciousness into the divine dragon ring. He took out the storage bag he had just obtained and looked at it before sending his soul consciousness into it. That's right, a 1-meter-long heaven-nourishing root was lying inside. Not good. Killing intent. Li Lingtian was taken aback as he knew that this was not good. He had never seen such a murderous intent before. Moreover, this killing intent was obviously directed at him. In this vast sea, other than Dongfang Yunlong, who was a Supreme Realm expert, there was no other Supreme Realm expert. Even Dongfang Yunlong wouldn't give him such a terrifying killing intent. The only explanation was that the experts of the Ping family had come. Sure enough, 100 miles away, two middle-aged men were floating in the sky above the sea, like sculptures floating in the air. Other than killing intent, there was no longer any vitality or aura. For the first time, Li Lingtian felt a deep sense of dread. The other party had already blocked him from the front and he had no way out. If they retreated, there might be another super expert from the Ping family behind them. Black and white Peerless. His body shot out and came to a place 10 miles in front of the two revered martial artists. He floated above the sea area and was only 1 foot away from the sea area. The true dragon's protective light shield covered his entire body. The light shield rose and fell with the seawater. Li Lingtian was shocked once again because the clothes of the two middle-aged men reminded him of the Ping clan's black and white matchless. Although he was in Moonrise City, the people under Qingyun had long left Moonrise City, so they knew a lot about the backgrounds and identities of some cities and experts. He Bai Wushuang of the Ping family was a super expert of the Ping family. He was a rank 2 Supreme Realm existence. Although he was also a rank 2 Supreme Realm expert, he was almost invincible among those of the same rank. This was also what shocked him. Another thing that made him afraid was the cultivation technique and skill that Black and White Wushuang cultivated. In attribute, ordinary martial artists would accidentally fall for it and die without knowing how. Hand over the storage bag first, then follow me back to receive your punishment. The two middle-aged experts did not speak, but as soon as their sinister voices sounded above the sea, the world instantly changed. In an instant, the entire sea region became gloomy. At the same time, the sea region disappeared, and what appeared in front of them was a hellish world. Li Lingtian could feel his entire body turning cold. Even his ice soul martial soul felt extremely cold in this gloomy hellish world. Dark soul world. The two middle-aged men in front of him looked at each other with a cold glint in their eyes. Li Lingtian could not help but shudder when they looked at him. Chapter 281, Chapter 281, The Power of the Eye of the Divine Soul. Chapter 281, The Power of the Eye of the Divine Soul. The Dark Soul world was a spiritual world created by experts. The Black and White Peerless in front of him were experts of this path. Their martial souls were also of the Yin system, which was rare in the world. Yin martial souls were the same as demons. The Netherworld was also a world, but it was rare to see the experts of the Netherworld appear. The fact that there were no underworld cultivators did not mean that there were no people who practiced the underworld cultivation method. Similarly, martial artists with Yin martial souls could achieve twice the result with half the effort by cultivating the underworld's cultivation method. Just now, he had accidentally fallen for it and entered the spiritual world of Black and White Wushuang. He should have known long ago that the two middle-aged men floating above the sea were not so simple, but he had forgotten about the attributes of the Black and White matchless. You know quite a lot, but this time, you can only stay here forever. Bag of holding. I'll take it back after I capture you. The gloominess in Wushuang Hei's eyes intensified as he walked toward Li Lingtian step by step. The spiritual world was not a world, but a warrior's soul and divine sense were surrounded and entered into another spirit. If his soul and consciousness couldn't escape, then he would never have a soul, and his body would just be a shell. At that time, he would be at the mercy of others. The dark soul world is indeed powerful. But... Li Lingtian calmed himself down and the fear on his face disappeared. With a faint smile on his face, he watched as Wushuang Hei walked toward him. However, just as Li Lingtian was about to burst out laughing, Hei Wushuang stopped. The young man before him was too strange to have recognized his dark soul world. He didn't know what this young man was capable of. But what? Hei Wushuang asked coldly. At this time, the other party had already entered the dark soul world. Even a martial honor realm expert would not be able to escape, let alone a young man. After asking, he continued walking toward Li Lingtian. He did not believe that he could pull any tricks in his own world. However, all mental worlds are trash in front of me. Eye of the Divine Soul, break. The smile on Li Lingtian's face did not fade as he spoke calmly. As he spoke, the smile on his face turned cruel. A three-petaled exquisite blood-red lotus appeared between his eyebrows, and a faint light shot out. The light had no power, but in the spiritual world, it was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue. 2. Not good, it's a soul attack. Bai Wuxuang was shocked to death when he saw the change in Li Lingtian's glabella. To think that there was a powerhouse in this world who cultivated the divine soul attack. By the time he shouted, it was already over. He Wuxuang had already arrived before Li Lingtian. An array of light struck He Wuxuang. He Wuxuang spat out a mouthful of blood, and blood flowed from his 7 orifices. His eyes revealed a terrified expression, as if he had seen a ghost. Rumble. With a loud explosion, the dark soul world was broken when He Wuxuang was attacked. The entire hell disappeared, and the sea surface did not change at all, as if everything just now was an illusion. The only change was that He Wuxuang spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with spirit as if he had fallen seriously ill. His entire body was extremely weak, and his face was filled with fear. They were experts in the spiritual world, and no one understood the terror of the spiritual world. The two of them had cultivated in the dark soul world for hundreds of years. They had never thought that they would meet an expert with a terrifying soul and soul consciousness. The Eye of the Divine Soul was undoubtedly the nemesis of the dark soul world. To the dark soul world, it was 1 in a billion chance to encounter its nemesis. Li Lingtian retracted his divine soul's eye. His heart was in turmoil, but everything before his eyes was calm as if nothing had happened. However, the danger was like wandering around the gates of hell. If other experts were tricked into entering the dark soul world that he had just entered, they would never be able to come out. Fortunately, he had mastered the Eye of the Divine Soul, destroyed the dark soul world, and even injured He Wuxuang. All of this seemed to have happened a long time ago, but the real time had only been an instant. Why do you have the Eye of the Divine Soul? Bai Wuxuang looked at Li Lingtian in shock. The outcome of the battle was originally in their hands, but when he saw Li Lingtian trapped in the dark soul world, he felt contempt for him. There were at least 800 experts killed by the dark soul world. He never thought that he would be pecked in the eye by a wild goose after hunting wild geese all day. Powerhouses who cultivated the spiritual world naturally recognized Li Lingtian's Eye of the Divine Soul. The Eye of the Divine Soul was the most terrifying soul attack in the world. I've said before that a mere dark soul world is trash in front of me. Since you're here, then stay. Li Lingtian said coldly. With a flick of his divine consciousness, he activated the divine dragon ring and the silver-winged flying dragon appeared in the air. The shocking demonic power pressure shocked Black and White Wuxuang once again. He did not expect that this young man not only had the Eye of the Divine Soul, but also a powerful 6th-tier demonic beast. You hold him back. I'll kill him first. Li Lingtian transmitted his consciousness to the silver-winged flying dragon. The silver-winged flying dragon that had cultivated the true dragon's body barrier and had its body tempered by dragon energy was now a true dragon. Moreover, they could communicate with Li Lingtian, but outsiders would not know what they were talking about. Roar! With a shocking roar, the seawater in the sea area surged up, as if the world had been destroyed. Black and White Peerless was shocked by the roar. Li Lingtian was the same as well. He cursed in his heart. Why are you shouting so loudly? The silver-winged flying dragon pounced directly at Bai Wuxuang. Level 6 was equivalent to a first-level martial venerable. Facing Bai Wuxuang, who was a second-level martial venerable, he lost in terms of realm. However, the silver-winged flying dragon was a true dragon, the king of all demons, and the king of the sky. In addition, he had cultivated the dragon clan's cannon and grasped the dragon chi. His strength was different. Even if he was not a match for a second-stage Supreme Realm expert, he would not be defeated. Die. Li Lingtian's body flashed. Naturally, he would not allow Black and White Wushuang to join forces to attack the silver-winged flying dragon. Ice, fire, and 9 heavens were unleashed in an instant. The third heaven, Extermination. The destructive light beam shot out with the power of tyrannical extinction. Its target was He Wushuang. This He Wushuang was injured by his divine soul's sight. The injuries on his body were nothing much, but the injuries on his divine sense were more terrifying than anything else. He wanted the silver-winged flying dragon to hold Bai Wushuang back while he killed the injured He Wushuang. Then, he would join forces to kill Bai Wushuang. The world is spinning. Naturally, Black and White Wushuang had seen through Li Lingtian's plan. Black Wushuang was about to unleash his attack to kill the silver-winged flying dragon, but his expression changed when he saw the power of Li Lingtian's attack. This destructive light beam was even more terrifying than the divine soul eye. After the divine sense was attacked, the soul was damaged. It was not as easy to use attacks and treasures as before. He did not dare to face this attack easily anymore. When the forbidden attack was unleashed, the entire sea area was turned upside down. A destructive forbidden attack was hurled at Li Lingtian. Rumble. With a shocking explosion, the black-white Peerless, the silver-winged flying dragon, and Li Lingtian were drowned by the seawater. The seawater rose to a height of 1,000 meters. The destructive force of the seawater kept hitting Li Lingtian. With a flash, he was already floating in the air. The silver-winged flying dragon and Bai Wushuang were also fighting at high speed. The silver-winged flying dragon had also pulled away from the battle. As for He Wushuang, blood was flowing out of the corner of his mouth, and his face was pale. The attack earlier was not enough to hurt him, but the injury he received from Li Lingtian earlier was fatal. Now, in front of the ice, fire, 9 heavens, he was powerless to resist. Flying dragon strength. Li Lingtian circulated his true essence and circulated dragon energy within his body. 2 wyverns roared out and attacked He Wushuang below. Rumble. With another shocking explosion, the flying dragon disappeared. In Li Lingtian's line of sight, He Wushuang's face was filled with black lines. He was furious, but he could only passively attack. Eye of the Divine Soul. Seeing this, he used the Eye of the Divine Soul again. The speed was beyond imagination. It was even faster than when he first used the Eye of the Divine Soul. This was the only way to kill He Wushuang. In front of a mental attack expert, using the Eye of the Soul was a relatively reckless decision, but it was also the time when one's strength could be best displayed. In a spiritual awareness attack, the strong would win and the weak would lose. However, this time, Li Lingtian did not attack but devoured the opponent's divine consciousness. All, ah, ah. Screams of pain could be heard. Due to the previous injuries, they could not even use their divine perception and could only be devoured by Li Lingtian's Eye of the Divine Soul. Roar. Bai Wushuang was horrified to see Li Lingtian devour He Wushuang's divine consciousness. If this continued, his brother would perish. When Li Lingtian joined forces with the silver-winged flying dragon, he would be doomed as well. However, just as he was about to help, the silver-winged flying dragon roared and a terrifying demonic power smashed over. This demonic power was no longer ordinary power, but dragon energy. Rumble. With a shocking explosion, the seawater churned. Bai Wushuang's eyes revealed a look of horror. This silver-winged flying dragon was actually using dragon chi, the chi of a true dragon. There were no true dragons in this world at all. Where did the true dragon chi come from? This was also something he could not imagine. Everything that happened when they met Li Lingtian today was beyond their imagination. The result of that was that they had been schemed against and had failed miserably. All. With a final weak scream, He Wushuang's eyes became dazed as he looked at the battle in the sky in confusion. Sword howl, heaven and earth. When Li Lingtian saw this, he retracted his divine soul eye and with a flick of his divine consciousness, he swung the Tianyu sword casually. A shocking sword will filled the sea area and a destructive sword ray tore through the air. The space split into two halves, and the sword light landed on He Wushuang's body without any suspense. He did not even react subconsciously when the sword light arrived. The sound of something being torn apart rang out. Following that, He Wushuang's entire body was cut into two halves. The sword chi stirred the two halves of his body into pieces and instantly drowned them in the sea. Big brother. When Bai Wushuang saw his elder brother being killed, he let out a mournful cry. Ignoring the silver-winged flying dragon's attack, he unleashed a devastating attack on Li Lingtian. It was a desperate fight to perish together with him. Chapter 282, Chapter 282, Mystic Moon Fire. Chapter 282, Mystic Moon Fire. Thunderclap wings, dodge. Spatial imprisonment. Li Lingtian dared not resist when he saw Bai Wushuang charging at him. With a flash of his thunderclap wings, he cast the space banner and the space distorted. He escaped Bai Wushuang's divine consciousness and vanished into thin air. Rumble. The seawater surged up like the sky. Bai Wushuang's attack missed, and he looked at the seawater with his two dazed eyes. He Wushuang was killed, and his attack missed. Behind him, the silver-winged flying dragon's destructive attack came. Puff! In his daze, the silver-winged flying dragon's attack landed squarely on his back, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. At this moment, a destructive spatial attack descended like the might of heaven. The wrath of the gods. Li Lingtian shouted coldly as the destructive lightning bolt swooped down and tore the space apart. Ice and fire rings. Bai Wushuang woke up with a start. The threat of death had already shocked him to the extreme. The expression on his face was incomparably terrified, as if he had seen a ghost. A solemn look appeared in his eyes, and a magical halo appeared. The ring of light blocked the sky, causing the space to tremble. Ice and fire rings. When Li Lingtian saw the halo and heard Bai Wushuang's voice, his heart skipped a beat. The divine wrath's attack weakened rapidly. Wasn't this ice and fire ring the same as his ice and fire ring? Boom! Even if the attack of God's wrath was weakened, this attack was still destructive. The ice and fire halo trembled as it blocked the attack of God's wrath from the heavens. However, the ice and fire halo was also beaten back to its original state. Ice flame. Li Lingtian's heart raced. If he were to use a shocking attack, Bai Wushuang would definitely use the ice-fire halo to block it. He was interested in this halo and would regret it if it was damaged. The ice flame was the only one that did not possess offensive power. However, it had the power to burn and devour, as well as the power to freeze. When the ice flame was used, the entire sea area quickly froze. However, there was a destructive temperature on the surface of the sea. Swoosh! A light sound, like a breeze, drifted past. A fist-sized ball of ice flame shot towards Bai Wushuang. Tisk! Seeing the arrival of the ice flame, Bai Wushuang was also extremely shocked. When he encountered such a flame, he could only scatter it, or he would be finished. However, after the destructive attack, the icy flame did not disappear at all. Instead, it quickly surged towards Bai Wushuang. The ice flame immediately burned Bai Wushuang's body, and the magical power of burning and freezing continued to erode his true essence and mind. All. Mystic moon fire, sacrifice. A blood-colored crescent flame appeared. Immediately, the two flames collided. Li Lingtian's heart trembled when he saw the flame. The mystic moon flame was the most mysterious flame of the underworld. It was extremely mysterious and wasn't as domineering as the Nine Suns sacred flame, as strange as the icy ice flame, or as vicious as the Empyrean demon flame. However, it was mysteriously gentle. However, this gentleness was only for refining it. It could fuse with all things in the world and could also destroy all things in the world. The mystic moon fire was rarely seen because the underworld only existed in legends. He did not expect Bai Wuxiang to have mastered the mystic moon fire. Chi chi, chi chi. Above the sea, the two flames were constantly chasing and colliding with each other. For a moment, there was no change in the outcome. Bai Wuxiang was also shocked when he saw that his mystic moon fire had been entangled. He naturally understood the power of the mystic moon fire, but he did not expect that someone would use fire to fight against the mystic moon fire. Li Lingtian was extremely excited as he watched the clash between the mystic moon flame and the ice flame. If the two flames continued like this, one of them would definitely devour the other. However, he did not wish for such a thing to happen. Even if the ice flame devoured the mystic moon flame, he did not want to see it. If the mystic moon flame devoured the ice flame, he would also be in danger. He activated the heaven and earth creation cauldron with his divine consciousness. He pointed at the cauldron with his magic art, and the heaven and earth creation cauldron emitted a silver-white light. Yes. With a soft shout, the light enveloped the mystic moon fire. Instantly, two raging flames were pulled into the heaven-earth creation cauldron. At that moment, the icy frost flame had already separated. Li Lingtian pointed with one hand and the icy frost flame shot toward Bai Wuxiang. The mystic moon fire disappeared and entered the heaven and earth creation cauldron. Before Bai Wuxiang could react, his mystic moon fire was taken away. He was instantly shocked, but before he could be shocked, the icy ice flame had already arrived in front of him. Oh! With a shrill scream, the icy frost flame enveloped Bai Wuxiang, turning him into an ice sculpture. His entire body was being refined by the icy frost flame. His true essence was rapidly flowing away, and his blood essence was also constantly burning. Tisk! With a final soft sound, the ice flame floated in the air. Bai Wuxiang had been completely burned by the ice flame and finally melted into the sea. Li Lingtian was neither happy nor excited about the death of the two revered martial artists because he knew that his cultivation base was not enough to fight against a revered martial artist. Killing two Supreme Realm experts required careful planning, luck, and various heaven-defying skills and treasures. Only he could understand the danger involved. If he was not careful, he would be safe again. Following Wu Zun was like dancing on the tip of a knife. His divine sense moved and quickly locked onto the storage bags and treasures of the two Supreme Realm experts. Li Lingtian was still concerned about the ice-fire halo. He wondered how it was different from his own. After all, ice and fire elemental treasures were extremely rare, and now, the two treasures had the same name. With the two storage bags in hand, he flew onto the silver-winged flying dragon and quickly flew into the distance. In the blink of an eye, the silver-winged flying dragon disappeared into the horizon. Pingyang City, Ping Family. The territory under the jurisdiction of Pingyang City was the size of 5 green continents. Below Pingyang City, there were more than 10 cities of different sizes. Each of these cities was several times larger than the capitals of the 3 great empires of Green Continent. The Ping family was the emperor of Pingyang City. Although they did not claim the title of emperor, the entire Pingyang City was under their control. There were no external forces in Pingyang City. All the forces belonged to the Ping family. Only some foreign martial artists were here to shine or trade. Even if they came here, they would be under the jurisdiction and restrictions of the Ping family. Furthermore, the Ping family was the only one here and controlled the resources of Pingyang City. Originally, the Ping family was the #1 family in Pingyang City. No one dared to provoke the Ping family. However, on this day, a Supreme Realm expert of the Ping family was killed within 50,000 miles of the Ping family. Moreover, the heavenly jewels of the two supreme revered martial artists that he had sent out had also shattered. Impudent! How dare you provoke my Ping family? What do you think my Ping family is? You even killed my Ping family's experts in our territory. The Ping family will be irreconcilable with you. Fang Tian was furious. As the leader of the Ping family, his cultivation had reached the third level of the supreme realm. The Ping family had dominated Pingyang City for countless years. Even if their power was not as strong as before, they still had 26 martial honors and hundreds of martial emperors. He was unparalleled in Pingyang City. He did not expect someone to kill 3 Supreme Realm experts so close to the Ping family. This was the first time in 10,000 years that something like this had happened. It was a disgrace to the Ping family. Patriarch, this matter cannot be underestimated. He dared to kill the Ping family's people in the Ping family's territory, and he was so close to the Ping family. In less than 5 minutes, he killed 3 revered martial artists. One can imagine the cultivation and strength of the other party. Ping Xiaotian pondered for a moment. His cultivation was considered one of the top existences in the Ping family. He was also a third-level Supreme Realm expert. When the Ping family encountered a disaster, even if there was some unhappiness between them, he would temporarily put it aside. In the past, they had always competed with Fang Tian for the position of the family head. The two of them had always been at odds, but now, there was no gap at all. That's right. Even if there's a difference of 2 heavens between them, they won't die so easily in a Supreme Realm battle. Not to mention the Wushuang brothers. Although they are at the second level of the Supreme Realm, none of us are their match. With their strength, skills, and cultivation techniques, even a level 4 Supreme Realm expert would be fooled, let alone a level 2 or level 3 Supreme Realm expert. Ping Longtian agreed with Ping Xiaotian's words. He was also extremely shocked. 3 revered martial artists of the Ping family were killed within a few minutes. Everyone felt uneasy. If it were them, they would also be killed if they encountered such a super expert. Moreover, if the Ping family's tens of thousands of years of foundation were to vanish into thin air, they would not have the face to see their ancestor even if they died. Now was the time to unite, or else they would be defeated one by one. The Ping family might seem like a giant, but once they were slowly eroded, they would also become a group of ants. However, you're courting death if you cause trouble in the Ping family's territory. No matter who it is, they have to pay the price for provoking the Ping family. 7th brother, you are good at tracking and movement techniques. I will leave this matter to you. Fang Tian pondered for a while. As the head of the family, he had to think for the family. Now that the Ping family was in trouble, he naturally could not let the Ping family's reputation be tarnished. As he spoke, he looked at a blue-clad middle-aged man in the hall. The blue-clad middle-aged man's expression did not change at all. He had a completely zombie face. Don't worry, family head. Although my strength is not as good as Wushuang and the others, I'm confident in my ability to escape. Leave this matter to me. I'll kill him to prove the dignity of my Ping family. Ping Hao stood up and cupped his fists at Fang Zhengji. Then, he said a few words before turning around and walking out of the hall. It seemed slow, but it was actually fast. Every step seemed to cross a world. In 2 steps, he disappeared from the hall. Although it seemed that Ping Hao was leaving step by step, no one could see how he left. There was no fluctuation in the space. Instantly, the expressions of the 20 over Supreme Realm experts in the hall changed continuously. They were also extremely surprised by Ping Hao's cultivation. Ping Hao's cultivation had long reached the peak of the second heaven, but he had not broken through all these years. Instead, he had practiced his movement technique to the extreme. Chapter 283, Wind Martial Spirit Expert. Chapter 283, Wind Martial Spirit Expert. Li Lingtian maintained a calm expression on his face as he flew, but his heart was in turmoil. If he went back like this, he would definitely be hunted down. At that time, he would not be able to stay in Moonrise City. If he provoked such a super family, he would be hunted down. Just now was an example. He had killed Ping Haoji, but in less than 10 minutes, he was chased down by the other party. It was unknown what kind of secret technique he used to travel at this speed. Otherwise, he would not have crossed a distance of 20,000 to 30,000 miles in such a short period of time. After flying for a day, they finally left the sea area. However, Li Lingtian sensed that he might be targeted as soon as he left the sea area. All martial artists had this feeling, and it was also based on the so-called sixth sense. What a terrifying movement technique and speed! Li Lingtian was secretly alarmed. Although he could sense that someone was watching him, he could not locate the other party. Furthermore, no matter how he tried to dodge, he could not escape from the stalking. Even if he used the thunderclap wings and the spatial banner, he would not be able to shake off the other party's tracking. More importantly, the other party did not use his divine sense to lock onto him. If he was still so powerful without using his divine sense to lock onto him, one could imagine how powerful the other party was. As time passed, Li Lingtian felt extremely depressed. If this continued, his whereabouts would be known by the Ping clan. By then, he would be safe once a few powerful revered martial artists joined forces to kill him. Swoosh! His body flashed and he quickly flew towards the direction of the sea. This time, he wasn't heading back, but in another direction. This direction was the depths of the sea. This was the only thing he could do now. If he were to enter the land within a few million miles would be the Ping family's territory. At that time, he would be targeted by billions of martial artists, and his whereabouts would be controlled by the Ping family at all times. Although it was dangerous in the sea realm, there were not so many experts chasing after them. At the very least, martial artists below the martial arts grandmaster level did not have the ability to pursue them. After all, the sea area was filled with danger. Even the powerful martial emperors and martial supremes did not dare to underestimate the sea area. There were countless sea beasts, unknown dangers, and natural storms and thunderstorms. These wouldn't pose a threat to warriors outside, but in the sea area, these storms and thunderstorms would become the murderers of warriors. He's actually flying into the depths of the sea. Is he really not afraid of death? In the air, a surprised voice muttered to itself, and then a blue-clothed middle-aged man strangely appeared in the air. However, this figure was very blurry. It was like a wisp of air, and his entire person was one with the world. As he watched Li Lingtian's back, the surprise on Ping Hao's face intensified. He pondered for a moment before casting a spell. A pitch-black wooden token appeared in front of him. When the spell was cast on the wooden token, it emitted a trace of obscure aura. Pass it on. Following that, Ping Hao kept muttering something, but no sound came out. Instead, it was transmitted into the wooden token. After the transmission was completed, he took out a drop of blood essence and fused it into the wooden token. The wooden token suddenly came alive and twisted. Gradually, the pitch-black wooden token turned into air and disappeared. With a flash of his body, he quickly flew into the distance. In the sea, it was the most difficult to follow a master. Because of the aura of countless sea beasts in the sea, the concealment of the sea water, and the storm, the aura of the person being followed was easily diluted. Li Lingtian waved his hand and a large spaceship floated in the air. In a flash, he floated up and the flying ship quickly flew into the distance. In the sea, if there was no flying ship to rest, even a martial monarch realm expert would be drowned in the sea. With a flying ship, it would only consume spirit stones, not true essence or mental energy. Li Lingtian chuckled. Since he was being followed, he would be able to take out his spaceship brazenly in the ocean. This way, he could preserve his spirit and quintessential essence. On the spaceship, Li Lingtian laid leisurely on a chair and enjoyed the scenery of the sea, its vastness and surging waves. The spiritual energy in this sea area was extremely dense, and the sky was blue. You're playing tricks with me. Ping Hao watched as Li Lingtian leisurely enjoyed his flying ship while he had to hide. His body flashed and turned into a gust of wind. He disappeared into the wind. They followed the spaceship from 100 miles away, afraid that Li Lingtian would notice them. For half a day, Li Lingtian remained lying on the ground. His divine consciousness had locked down a 10-mile radius to prevent the martial honor from making a move. However, half a day had passed and Li Lingtian was smiling in his heart. It was time for him to make his move. Half a day's time, even if the other party didn't use up his true qi, it would have worn down his spirit. Anyone who followed him for half a day would be furious. Rumble. Swoosh, swoosh. A middle-grade spirit stone entered the power source of the flying ship. Immediately, the flying ship let out a rumbling sound and quickly shot into the distance. Li Lingtian's speed had more than doubled compared to the beginning and his aura had become even thinner. Ping Hao, who was at the back, was stunned when he saw Li Lingtian's spaceship accelerating. At this moment, the space distorted. Ping Hao was confused when he saw this distortion. However, just as he was feeling puzzled, a destructive attack came at him at an extremely fast speed. It was only 100 meters away. Ping Hao's expression changed drastically at this speed and distance. He could not imagine that this trace of spatial distortion was caused by a martial artist because there were very few experts in this world who could control space. If a martial artist teleported, there would also be spatial fluctuations. However, the distortion just now did not have the slightest aura or fluctuation. This puzzled him. By the time he reacted, the attack had already arrived in front of him. Split! Ping Hao shouted. Facing such an attack, there was no way he could block it. If he was prepared, he would not have taken it to heart. His true essence moved, and the sound of the wind rang out. His entire person disappeared, drifting in the air like a breeze. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded, and the air trembled. The attack missed. Not good. Li Lingtian was astonished to see that his opponent was able to dodge his sneak attack so easily. Seeing the other party disappear, a bad feeling appeared in his heart. Just as he shouted, a destructive aura swept over from the surroundings at an unimaginable speed. Thunderclap wings. The thunderclap wings flashed, but it was already too late. This destructive aura swept over from all directions. Before he could dodge, the destructive attack struck his body. The air was like a sharp blade, and the light shield of the true dragon was cut in the blink of an eye. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell into the sea. Storm. A gloomy voice sounded in the sky, and a storm swirled down into the sea. The whirlwind formed a 100-meter-wide tornado that quickly crashed down on the spot where Li Lingtian had fallen. Even the sea was whirling. Chi-chi, chi-chi. The storm in the vortex was even more terrifying than a sharp blade. Without the light shield of the true dragon's body protection, the wind directly tore through his body. Even if he cultivated the true dragon's body protection, his physique was incomparably strong. However, in front of this strong wind, there was no resistance at all. The strong wind was everywhere and there was nothing to resist. Ice Soul Martial Soul. 1,000 miles of ice. Li Lingtian's body continued to tear apart. He was horrified as he circulated his true essence to the maximum and unleashed his Ice Soul Martial Soul. A domineering 1,000 miles of ice blasted downwards. Above was the destructive storm vortex, and below was the sea water. It was even more domineering and advantageous to freeze 1,000 miles in the sea water. Suddenly, a shocking cold air surged out from the sea, instantly forming a huge glacier. He quickly sank into the glacier. 3,000 weak waters, shapeless. He chanted the movement incantation, and his body passed through the glacier and entered the sea again. The glacier was quickly crushed by the storm. The moment Li Lingtian left the glacier was completely crushed as well. He disappeared into the sea as if he had turned into seawater. In the air, Ping Hao's body appeared strangely, and he had a surprised look on his face. The storm he had cast had not killed his opponent, and he had actually disappeared without a trace. The 1,000 miles of ice instantly formed a glacier that was several miles wide. This way, it blocked the speed of his storm attack. The wind element was known for its speed, and its attacks were also known for their speed. Moreover, the wind element was omnipresent, and it was a mysterious attribute outside of the 5 elements. The clouds were formless, and the wind was unfixed. The martial souls of the divine martial continent came in all kinds of shapes and sizes. At the same time, they were extremely magical and unpredictable. Looking at the seawater, he quickly extended his divine sense. A mere martial arts grandmaster was actually so arrogant in front of a martial honor. Even though the two of them had only exchanged blows for a split second, Ping Hao had already figured out Li Lingtian's cultivation realm. He was shocked beyond words that a martial arts grandmaster could be so powerful. In the depths of the sea, Li Lingtian did not dare to make a single move. He did not dare to reveal his aura or true essence. This powerful martial honor's cultivation base was not inferior to black and white wushuang's. The last time he killed black and white wushuang, it was luck. His divine soul eyes had exceeded their expectations, which was why he restrained them. Now, he had no advantage at all. Even his sneak attack had not succeeded. Just like that, the two of them stayed in the depths of the sea and in the sky. Neither of them left and continued to waste time. True dragon body protection. Flying dragon strength. As time passed, Li Lingtian thought of countless ideas, but he rejected them one by one. In the end, he thought of the dragon energy. The dragon energy belonged to the demon energy. If he used the dragon energy, he might be able to fool the other party. At the same time, the silver-winged flying dragon appeared in front of him and quickly swam into the distance. He was surprised again, but he didn't attack immediately. As the aura below was demonic power, he extended his divine consciousness downwards. A gigantic demonic beast was swimming around, but there was no trace of Li Lingtian's aura. Chapter 284, Chapter 284, Wind God Blade. Chapter 284, Wind God Blade. At this moment, another wave of demonic energy appeared. The two waves of demonic energy were in opposite directions. Rumble. The seawater that was gradually calming down suddenly exploded. A destructive demonic energy shot into the sky and struck Ping Hao in the air. The sea water surged into the sky, and the demonic power shot toward Ping Hao along with a silver light. Damn it, even the sea beasts are acting so arrogantly in front of me. Ping Hao felt the destructive demonic power and immediately became anxious. He did not dare to be careless when facing such a sea beast. Moreover, this sea beast was a 6th-tier existence, equivalent to a martial honor. Roar! Boom! The silver-winged flying dragon roared, and its huge wings brought with them a destructive attack as it bombarded Ping Hao. With a loud explosion, the silver-winged flying dragon retreated, but it didn't land in the sea. Instead, it flew in another direction. It turned its body and charged again. In an instant, two figures flashed in the air, and booming sounds continued. It's not a sea beast, it's a silver-winged flying dragon. Ping Hao finally recognized that the one fighting him was not a sea beast, but a silver-winged flying dragon. The silver-winged flying dragon was not a sea beast, but the king of the air and land. Not good. Ice, fire, 9 heavens, extinction. Wan Lu felt that something was wrong. Something was definitely wrong with the appearance of the silver-winged flying dragon here. He then thought that this silver-winged flying dragon should be the demonic beast of that martial arts grandmaster. Not good. He shouted. At the same time, he heard a calm voice. A wave of destruction, death, and extermination aura appeared in the space. A pillar of light shot over like a ray of light from outer space. Wind God Blade. When Ping Hao saw this pillar of light and the aura of extermination in the air, he was extremely shocked. He waved his hands in the air and chanted the incantation. Immediately, the storm in the world quickly gathered together. Sick. A stream of blood essence fused in the air, and the storm became even more violent. Moreover, it carried a terrifying aura that could destroy everything. The storm quickly formed a huge blade of light that was 100 meters wide. The blade of light slashed towards the pillar of light. At the same time, traces of blood flowed from the corner of Ping Hao's mouth, and his face was pale and powerless. This attack had already consumed a large amount of vital essence and blood essence. Using such a terrifying wind god blade was only a forced move, and one had to pay a heavy price. Kacha! In the air, the wind god's blade clashed with the light beam. The wind god's blade split the light beam apart and the huge light blade slashed at Li Lingtian. However, when the light blade split the light beam in half, the light beam erupted with an even more violent aura of extermination. The light beam merged again and ruthlessly bombarded Ping Hao. Puff! The two of them spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time. They did not expect that their powerful trump cards could not destroy the other party. Instead, they injured themselves. Bang! At this moment, a muffled sound rang out in the air. The silver-winged flying dragon's huge wings flapped on Ping Hao's back, and he quickly fell towards the sea. What was left behind was a bloody mist. With an explosion, the sea area rippled, and Ping Hao fell into the sea area. Boom! The silver-winged flying dragon also entered the sea area and charged toward Ping Hao. Li Lingtian activated his divine consciousness and summoned Little White and the jade-eyed beast. The two demonic beasts also entered the sea. The two demonic beasts did not differentiate between the sea and land. After the three beasts entered the sea, he felt more at ease. His body flashed and he returned to the flying ship. He threw a pill into his mouth. He scanned the surroundings with his divine sense and paid attention to Ping Hao's actions. However, there were sounds of explosions below the sea. From time to time, a few figures would soar into the sky and enter the sea. Li Lingtian smiled in his heart when he saw the situation. With a flick of his divine consciousness, a golden light flashed between his brows and the divine array diagram appeared before him. Li Lingtian's hands were constantly waving as his body flashed rapidly. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Within 10 seconds, the divine array diagram was suspended in the air as Li Lingtian swiftly shot toward the sea. Sword howl, heaven and earth. The Tianyu sword was swung out, and a shocking pressure slashed out with a destructive sword light. The target was Ping Hao, who was flying over. A revered martial artist was attacked by three demonic beasts in the sea area, and he was furious. If it was on land, he could eliminate the three demon beasts in a moment. However, in the sea area, he lost his advantage and could only let the demon beasts play with him. At this moment, he was shocked when he saw a destructive sword light slash down. Heavenly Wind Shield. Bang! Crash! With a crisp sound, the sword light of the sword howl heaven and earth struck the shield. Then, the shield split into two, and the remaining force knocked Ping Hao down. Damn it! Ping Hao roared in rage. Although this sword light was not fatal, it shook his mind. In a flash, he dashed toward Li Lingtian, ignoring the three demonic beasts behind him. Tisk! In the air, he felt a slight sense of obstruction. Li Lingtian had already disappeared from his sight, and the three demonic beasts behind him were nowhere to be seen. Formation. Ping Hao was extremely shocked. He continuously waved his hands, and destructive attacks bombarded out, causing the air to continuously tremble. Let's go! Li Lingtian shouted at the silver-winged flying dragon and the other demonic beasts before he flew onto the spaceship. This Supreme Realm expert's strength was extremely profound. The martial soul he cultivated was also of the wind attribute. He was simply unable to kill him. In the sea realm, he had no advantage at all. Unless he found an island, built an array formation on the island, and used the obstacles on the island, it would be very difficult to deal with this martial honor. Swoosh! The spaceship flew at high speed, and the space behind it trembled. Ping Hao kept attacking the array. This array was temporarily cast and was not enough to trap a martial honor like Ping Hao. It could only trap him temporarily. As long as he could escape from the search of Wu Zun's divine sense, he would be able to escape from Wu Zun's pursuit. A Supreme Realm expert's divine sense could extend for about 1,000 miles. In other words, it could not be discovered by a Supreme Realm expert beyond 1,000 miles. However, to Li Lingtian's surprise, the air trembled less than 15 minutes after they left. Two figures appeared, an old man in white and a woman in red. Seventh brother's aura is clearly here. There's no aura anywhere else. The white-robed old man revealed a puzzled expression. The two of them had been chasing after him, but their auras had disappeared in this place. He was extremely shocked. Hee, old man, what's going on? The red-robed woman let out a seductive laugh and revealed a smile that made people feel disgusted and thought that she was charming. As he spoke, he looked at the spatial fluctuations in the distance. The space was constantly trembling, and it was getting stronger and stronger. Not good, it's a formation. Ping Yuetian looked at the ripples in the sky and was shocked. He then waved his hands, and a formation plate appeared in his hands. His 10 fingers continuously bounced back, and rays of light appeared. The rays of light quickly bombarded the spatial fluctuations in the distance. Rumble. The light collided with the trembling space, emitting a destructive explosion. The trembling space shattered, and a figure appeared. However, this figure's face was filled with fatigue. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and his entire body was covered in wounds. Seventh brother, why are you trapped inside? Ping Yuetian was shocked when he saw Ping Hao. Although he was curious about the spatial fluctuation, he didn't expect that the person trapped inside was a revered martial artist of his Ping family. As he spoke, his face was filled with anger. When he broke the array formation just now, Ping Hao also suffered a destructive attack. The array formation shattered, and Ping Hao, who was inside the array formation, naturally bore the brunt. I was tricked by him. Ping Hao's face was pale, and there was no more true essence in his body. He thought of that hateful young man who was still furious. A mere martial grandmaster had actually schemed against him. Him? Are you talking about the murderer who killed our Ping family's Wu Zong? The red-robed woman was stunned and a hint of fear appeared on her face. Even a few martial honors of the Ping family were killed. Now, her seventh brother was also plotted against. She did not know who the other party was. That's right. It's a young martial arts grandmaster with a silver-winged flying dragon. Ping Hao described Li Lingtian's appearance. He did not feel anything, but Ping Yuetian's expression turned ugly. You said it was a young man, and only a martial arts grandmaster. Not good. Hurry up and chase after him. Don't let him leave the sea realm. Otherwise, things will be troublesome. Ping Yuetian's expression kept changing. In the end, he said hurriedly. If he let this young man leave the sea realm, the Ping family wouldn't be able to chase him openly anymore. Ping Hao didn't know this young man, but he knew. Sixth brother, what's wrong? Ping Hao also saw the change in Ping Yuetian's expression. In the Ping family, although his sixth brother didn't like power, his cultivation base was terrifying. Even the family head was no match for him. Now that he had already reached rank 3 Supreme Realm, even Black and White Wushuang might not be able to defeat him with the cultivation techniques and skills he cultivated. Now, he was actually so nervous for a young man. This person is called Li Lingtian. He's a spirit alchemist. His cultivation base is terrifying, but what's even more terrifying is his intelligence. 3 of our Ping family's revered martial artists have already fallen in his hands. I'm afraid that our Ping family will cause trouble, so I'll try my best to kill him in the sea realm first. Ping Yuetian said seriously. If this young man left the sea realm, the Ping family would still hunt him down, and the Ping family would become the successor of the Yan family. The Yan family was worlds apart from the Ping family, but this young man was terrifying. Furthermore, he had the backing of the Queen's Palace and the Wind Moon Palace. That's right. We can't keep the second son alive. If he leaves the sea realm, I'll definitely tear him into pieces. Ping Hao said angrily. He had been ambushed several times and almost died in the array formation. Thinking of this young man made him angry. We can't let him leave the sea realm. He has the Queen's Palace and the Wind Moon Palace behind him. I still don't know what relationship he has with those two super forces, but both forces have appeared to help him at the same time. Our Ping family can't afford to offend such forces. Ping Yuetian recounted what happened in Moonrise City some time ago. He was also working in Moonrise City at that time and had witnessed Li Lingtian's methods. Chapter 285, Chapter 285, Immortal Spirit Life God Extermination Array. Chapter 285, Immortal Spirit Life God Extermination Array. Now that he thought about it, he was a little afraid. He did not know how a martial arts grandmaster had such powerful strength to actually kill 3 martial honors. Moreover, he had even killed Tong Yunfei. He had seen it with his own eyes, so he couldn't find the slightest bit of luck to speak of. It was entirely due to his intelligence, terrifying skills, and treasures. After witnessing Li Lingtian's methods, it was the first time he witnessed a grandmaster killing a revered martial artist. Then all the more we can't let him leave the sea realm. The 3 of us shouldn't split up. This guy is extremely terrifying. There's also a silver-winged flying dragon and 2 little demonic beasts that are extremely strange. After hearing Ping Yuetian's words, Ping Hao was shocked. He didn't expect the young man he met to be so terrifying. He was lucky that he wasn't killed. With that said, the 3 of them quickly flew into the distance. Each of them split up and began to search for the aura left behind by Li Lingtian. Then, the 3 of them gathered together and quickly used the spaceship to fly in a direction. However, after flying for a day, the aura in front of him strangely disappeared. Li Lingtian adjusted his breathing on the spaceship as he steered it. After flying for a full day, no one chased after him. He began to calculate in his heart. If he continued to fly like this, he did not know where he would fly to. Moreover, the sea area was vast and boundless. He had never heard of this sea area before. If he encountered any danger inside, it would not be good. The spaceship flew quickly. Just as he was considering whether to change direction, a huge fog appeared in front of him. It was too late to stop the spaceship. By the time he reacted, the spaceship had already plunged into the thick fog. Upon entering the thick fog, Li Lingtian's face revealed a look of shock. This was because the thick fog had actually blocked his divine consciousness from extending out. He didn't know how big the thick fog was, but he had completely lost his direction. Rumble. Waves of strange thunder continuously sounded. In the sky and sea, waves soared into the sky, and the spaceship kept spinning. Even with his current cultivation, he could not control this flying ship. In this dense fog, he was like a powerless ordinary person. The torrential rain continued to pour, thunder rumbled, and electric arcs flashed. The sky and sea were dark. Rumble. The spaceship was destroyed by a strange vortex force. Li Lingtian's body was suspended in the air, but there was also a vortex force above him. This vortex force was falling toward him fiercely. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his mind was shaken. Facing such a natural disaster, he had no way to resist at all. His entire body turned cold as he entered the sea. Then, he was sucked down by a suction force and lost all consciousness. The sky was filled with lightning and thunder. It was unknown how long it took before it quieted down. The thick fog disappeared, and the sea area remained unchanged. A broken spaceship was floating on the sea, swaying unsteadily. The entire sea looked extremely strange. Li Lingtian was knocked out. He was peerless in the outside world, so he was not afraid even when facing a martial honor. However, Facing this natural disaster, he had no idea what to do. He did not know what to attack or defend against. After some time, Li Lingtian slowly opened his eyes as if he had just woken up. However, when he opened his eyes, he was shocked by what he saw. He became disheartened and looked at himself. He could not move at all. He did not have any injuries on his body, and this place was not in the sea, but on a huge array altar. He had never seen such a powerful array altar before. The array altar was 1,000 meters wide and was covered in mysterious arrays. The array altar flickered with light and looked extremely mysterious. What terrified him was that there were actually dozens of powerful martial honors and martial emperors in front of him. Moreover, each of them was at least a rank 8 martial emperor. There were only 4 5th sect youths. Facing so many experts, wasn't he doomed? However, he gradually discovered a problem. It was extremely quiet here. No, it wasn't silence. It was silence. His body couldn't move, and the other party's face was numb, like a dead person. However, he realized that these experts all had auras, but they couldn't move just like him. Noticing this situation, they temporarily quieted down and couldn't help but carefully observe. There were a total of 79 people on the other side. Among the 79 people, 46 were martial honors, 28 were martial emperors, and 5 were rank for martial grandmasters. His position and the others formed a strange formation. The people in front of him had been here for a long time because there was no expression on their faces, as if their hearts had died. Then, he looked around. The 1,000-meter wide array altar was surrounded by a huge lawn, but it was surrounded by huge mountains. 4 mountain peaks surrounded this place. No one knew how big or how high the mountain peaks were. Shoo! Li Lingtian heaved a sigh of relief. The powerhouses on the other side were not targeting him, which meant that he would not be killed by dozens of revered martial artists. However, he could not use his true essence and divine sense, nor could he move his fingers. The dense spiritual energy was almost tangible, and there was a faint mysterious aura in the middle. If not for such a strange situation, this place would definitely be a cultivation paradise. As the seconds ticked by, Li Lingtian could no longer calm down even with his ice soul martial soul. This place was too strange and terrifying. There was no sound at all, giving people a sense of oppression. As time passed, he became more and more afraid. He finally understood why it was said that ignorance was bliss. This was because he had seen some clues. This array altar was created by many mysterious arrays. Moreover, he recognized this array formation. He just did not dare to believe or admit it. Immortal spirit life and death formation. Legend had it that in ancient times, there were countless other races besides humans. The fairy clan was one of the best among them. They were favored by the heavens and the earth. They were born with unparalleled handsomeness, controlled wood-type spiritual energy, and were born to be sharpshooters. It was also the kindest race. There was no killing or anger in this race. There was only a peaceful life, which represented peace and kindness. However, countless humans took a fancy to this race and captured the elves of this race as toys. There were fewer and fewer elves. In the end, the Elf King created a divine array. This divine array was the immortal spirit life and death divine array. This array could stop the footsteps of humans. The formation was mystical and unparalleled. It was one of the 4 ancient forbidden formations. Moreover, there was another terrifying formation outside this formation, and that was the 9 Deaths Annihilation formation. Although the 9 Deaths Killing formation was not an ancient forbidden formation, it was evil. 81 humans activated the array. In the end, only one of the 81 humans could survive. Now, the array formation in this place was the Immortal Spirit Life God Extermination Array. Moreover, there were 79 humans here. Including him, there were 80 of them. Only one more was left to activate the array formation automatically. What kind of *eking luck am I in? Li Lingtian cursed in his heart. He had somehow managed to enter such a formation. The experts in front had been here for countless years. Without 81 humans, it was impossible to activate this array. Even if it was activated, only one person could survive. How many people would enter the depths of the sea slowly, and what was the probability of them coming to the front of his unlucky storm? All of this seemed extremely uncertain. However, when he thought of the 79 people in front of him, it seemed that they were not together. He did not expect that there would always be such a group of unlucky people in the world. In other words, he had to wait for the 81st person to be as unlucky as him. After arriving here, he could activate this array formation and he would have to face 80 super experts. Just wait. Li Lingtian smiled bitterly in his heart. He could not circulate his true essence or even move his fingers. He could only be confined in this place. In the beginning, he had been worried that the revered martial artist would catch up, but now, he was looking forward to that guy breaking the array so that he could catch up and be as unlucky as him. Time slowly passed. After an unknown amount of time, Li Lingtian's heart gradually grew numb. Finally, the space trembled, and the trembling became stronger and stronger. Li Lingtian noticed that the faces of the 79 people across him were showing signs of sympathy. Immediately after, 3 figures appeared in front of everyone. The 3 figures appeared at the center of the array altar. When the 3 figures appeared, the expressions of the others did not change, as if they were used to it. However, Li Lingtian's expression changed drastically. The 3 of them did have an opponent, but there were 2 more now. Judging from the trio's appearance, they should be together. Rumble. To everyone's surprise, after the 3 of them appeared in the center, a destructive true essence strangely appeared in the air. The quintessential essence split into 2 and instantly, 2 of them fell down without any resistance. One of them, the lady in red, was reduced to ashes while the other, Li Lingtian's opponent Ping Hao, was reduced to ashes. Everyone was stunned. This was the first time they had seen someone being erased in this place. As expected. Li Lingtian was shocked when he saw the 2 revered martial artists being turned into ashes in an instant. However, he was even more afraid that the array was just as he had imagined. 81. 1 more would kill 1, and 2 more would kill a pair. Only 81 would remain. Chi. Above the array altar, a shocking light flashed. The array altar spun rapidly as if the end of the world had arrived. The 9 deadly slaughter formation. Within 10 days, those who survive will return here. Only one person can survive here. This is the only way out. Otherwise, after 10 days, you will stay here forever. An ancient voice sounded. This voice was mechanical and emotionless. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, the array altar seemed to have reversed. Everyone was thrown out by a mysterious aura. Chapter 286, Chapter 286, Heaven and Earth Throne. Chapter 286, Heaven and Earth Throne. Li Lingtian's body was thrown into the distance before he fell heavily to the ground. He didn't have the slightest strength in his body, and his true essence was exhausted. His divine sense was also suppressed. F***ck, what is this place? He could no longer find the array altar here, nor did he know where it was because he was in a dense forest. The trees here were all 100 meters tall and extremely sturdy. They looked completely like they had been in ancient times. His divine sense could not extend too far. He could only use his eyes. At this moment, he was just an ordinary person. He smiled. Although he couldn't extend his divine sense too far, he could control his treasures. With a flick of his divine sense, a jade bottle appeared in his hand. After that, he threw the heaven-defying pill into his mouth, and the Jin Yuan that had disappeared returned to his body. With Jin Yuan, he could do some cruel things. There were 81 people here, but only one person could survive. No matter what, he had to face all the experts. There was only life and death here. There was no benevolence, righteousness, and morality. There was only slaughter. His body flashed as he carefully flew into the distance. No matter what, he had to find the direction first. Otherwise, he would not even know the direction and would not be able to return to the array altar. However, what shocked him was that he didn't know how big this place was. It was just like the hidden dragon island that he had adventured in the past. His body flashed as he quickly flew in a certain direction. After searching for a long time, he finally found a safe place to rest and plunged into a hidden cave. He began to cultivate. Although he did not have any injuries on his body, he had not carefully taken care of the battle with Ping Hao. Moreover, after being confined on the array altar, he did not know if his body had changed. If he could not completely control his body, he would not be able to feel at ease during the battle. After staying in the cave for half a day, a relieved look appeared on his face. He then called Whitey out and carefully left the cave to look for an opponent. In this place, he had to kill the other party in order to have a chance to survive. Apart from the fact that his divine consciousness could not be extended too far, everything else was normal in this place. Li Lingtian had already made up his mind. Facing so many experts, he might as well search for treasures inside. Wouldn't he be treating himself as a fool if he wanted to court death? Since there was only one person who could come back alive, he would just have to protect himself. Thinking of this, he flew at a moderate speed. Whether he would die in this place or not, he had to find that array altar. Otherwise, he would not even be able to return to the array altar. Whoosh! The air trembled as a ray of light descended from the sky. The light was like a sun. Li Lingtian was taken aback. Although his divine consciousness could not extend too far, he could still tell a warrior's cultivation. The old man who attacked was a 6th-level martial emperor. He had a slim chance of survival. There was no reason to kill in this place because there was no reason to kill. If there was a reason, it would be to let him live. In fact, whether it was here or elsewhere, he killed people for the sake of his own survival. One don't know if he's dead or alive. Li Lingtian waved his hand and unleashed a tyrant's fist. It was a casual strike, but it carried the respect of a transcendent. Rumble. With a dull thud, the light and fist force vanished. Just as the two attacks vanished, a foot-long jade ruler appeared in Li Lingtian's hand. With a wave of the jade ruler, a dazzling light slashed out. With a muffled grunt, the dazzling light slashed fiercely on the old man's body. There was no suspense at all. The old man's eyes were filled with fear and then turned into ashes. A ray of multicolored light appeared between his brows and the elder fell to the ground unwillingly. Li Lingtian walked up to him step by step and retrieved a storage pouch from the elder before flying off into the distance without any hesitation. In the 10 days, Li Lingtian rested for half a day. He did not dare to stop for even a moment as he began to search for the 4 mountains. This place was extremely blurry, and only 4 mountains could be used as coordinates. On the 3rd day, Li Lingtian saw 4 mountains. Along the way, he had killed several martial emperors and a martial honor. He didn't want to waste time here. Rather than taking risks, he might as well study the array altar. After passing through the mountain, he safely returned to the array altar. There was no one on the array altar now. Li Lingtian slowly walked toward the array altar and scanned it with his divine consciousness. Currently, his divine consciousness could only extend 100 meters. It took him a full 10 minutes to finish sizing up the 1,000-meter-wide array altar. Originally, he could finish reading it with a single glance. However, he was not looking at this array altar now. Instead, he wanted to understand the array formation on it and think of a way to break this array altar. After a long time, Li Lingtian stood at the center of the array altar with a grave expression on his face. This array altar was the immortal spirit life exterminating god array. Only by destroying this array altar could they leave this place. He had been here for a few days, but he still did not know if he was above or below the sea. Divine Array Diagram, Sacrifice. Li Lingtian activated his divine consciousness and cast the Divine Array Diagram. Then, he cast a series of magic arts and array formations of various sizes floated in the air. Sick. After an hour, Li Lingtian's expression turned grave as he cast the final incantation gesture. The spell landed on the array altar. Instantly, the array altar trembled and countless lights flashed. It was at this moment that all the light beams were hurled toward Li Lingtian. The light on the array altar was so fast that even with Li Lingtian's reflexes and speed, he could not dodge or block it in time. His entire body was thrown into the air before he landed on the array altar again. He spat out a mouthful of blood. The light continued, but it was not as terrifying. Li Lingtian felt depressed. He knew that this divine array could not be broken. He activated the divine dragon ring with his divine sense again. To his surprise, when the divine dragon ring was opened, an item in the ring moved. Although the movement was small, Li Lingtian noticed it. Moreover, the moment this item shook, the light on the array altar also trembled, as if they were sensing each other. Heaven-Earth Throne. Li Lingtian was shocked. This item was not bad. He had found it when he obtained the freezing meteorite and the 10 millennium frost iron. Under the array altar at the bottom of the sea, a peerless expert was suppressed. The expert had turned into a golden skeleton, a token, a divine spark, and the limitless feather coat. He could not refine this limitless feather coat at all. He had used countless methods, but he could not refine it. Even if he had used his blood essence, he still could not refine it. If he could refine this limitless feather coat, his defense would increase by a large margin. He would be able to withstand the attacks of experts below the 5th level of the Martial Emperor realm. He didn't expect that the token of the Heaven and Earth throne would move at this time. In the past, he also knew that this token was not simple. It should be the symbol of the king of some race. However, he did not associate it with this array altar. Noticing this situation, he used his divine sense and took out the token of the Heaven and Earth throne. Rather than calling it a token, it was more like the jade seal seen on television in his previous life, the jade seal used by the emperor. As soon as the Heaven and Earth throne appeared, the light on the array altar trembled even more violently. The Heaven and Earth throne also automatically emitted a faint light. The light was connected to each other. Crash. With a crashing sound, a 7-colored light appeared in the center of the array altar. The light was extremely gentle. Li Lingtian's body was engulfed by the light as he was teleported away in a strange manner. This feeling was completely different from the previous teleportations. At least, he did not feel dizzy at all. During the teleportation, the Heaven and Earth throne flew toward them. There was a trace of Li Lingtian's aura in the Heaven and Earth throne. The last time he obtained this, he had refined it after he returned, but he could not refine it either. He could not even erase the aura inside. He could only leave his aura inside. That way, at least he could easily grab it. With a single hand, the Heaven and Earth throne returned to his hand. After an unknown period of time, a cool breeze blew across his face. The 7-colored light in front of him disappeared, and a large hall appeared in front of him. Beneath his feet was an array altar that was flashing with light. The array altar was emitting a mysterious aura. At the edge of the array altar, 9 white-haired elders sat cross-legged. They did not move at all, just like statues. Li Lingtian was stunned when he saw this. The 9 old men were all filled with extremely dense wood-type spiritual energy. Without any true essence, they were like the source of wood-type spiritual energy. Just as they were wondering how to greet each other, the 9 old men opened their eyes at the same time. The 9 elders moved in unison without any prior order. They stood up at the same time and sized up Li Lingtian with a sharp gaze. Gradually, curiosity began to show in their eyes. How did you break the immortal spirit life god exterminating formation? The 9 old men asked at the same time. Their voices were uniform, as if they were talking to one person. Li Lingtian felt his scalp tingle. There were 9 of them, not just one. Why were their movements exactly the same? Do you recognize this? Li Lingtian's expression did not change at all, but his heart was in turmoil as he forced himself to remain calm. He didn't know how strong the other party was, but since he came here, he must have something to do with that array. Moreover, the 9 elders had spoken first. Looking at the 9 elders, it seemed like they hadn't spoken for a long time. Thinking about how he still had the heaven and earth throne in his hands, he took it out and slowly raised it. He looked at the 9 elders, wanting to see what changes they had. But what happened next made him confused. Lord, Divine Lord. When the 9 elders saw the heaven and earth throne in Li Lingtian's hand, they were stunned for a moment before their faces were filled with fear. This fear was mixed with respect and love. As if they had seen their ancestors, the 9 of them knelt on one knee and did not dare to raise their heads. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.